Spurs win ugly to get to the semi-final of Europa League. Who would have known it? Is Ange trolling us? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is your boy, Mr. Box Office from Mr. Box Office TV, back with another show for you today. With Tottenham Hotspur winning 1-0, reacting to the 1-0 victory to Frankfurt in Germany. And now we're in the semi-final of the Europa League. Who would have known it? And I'm just confused. I'm hella confused. My head's just turning round. It's just going round and round. And I'm just confused with the most confusion of what I saw yesterday. So we're gonna make sense of it all on the show today, because I want to just talk about it and just get it off my chest and have a talk about it. And for the next half an hour or next hour or so. So big up to everybody in the chat. Big up to everybody who's watching around the world. And at Box Office City, back on this Good Friday bank holiday. We're rolling towards the Easter holidays and Easter Sunday. For anyone that's religious out there that believes in that, and that's it really. But if you've got any beliefs in that, but it's a strange morning today. It's a strange morning where, you know, I there's a part of me saying I'm really happy. I can be happy. I wouldn't say I'm proud at the moment, because you can't be proud of something just for one game. I guess if it was a final, maybe you'd be proud. Maybe, I don't know. It'd be different. It'd be different in some way. But it's just a moment where I'm sitting there thinking, is this really what we're doing here? Is this really can we actually win this competition now? There's a possibility that we can win this competition now. Europa League, especially on that performance yesterday night, where we were very pragmatic. We had a few chances on the transition and on the break, and we were defensively very, very, very tight with our midfielders, who are very, very strong. Certain players had really good games, and certain players have been praised, which I can see. Romero is one of them. Vicario has been another. Burval has been another. Bentancur's been another as well. But the ultimate person who's been praised has been Ange Postecoglou, because he's done everything that everybody wanted. The only doubt is, at the moment, I don't know. And people are picking out things about the whole substitution with Sarr coming on for Johnson. I still do not know from that. Still, is it because of circumstance, this performance, and the way that Ange decided to play and decided to be more reserved, not making sure that the fullbacks invert? Or is it just by design? I don't know. And this is why I can't gravitate towards getting really excited or being that guy that's really proud at the moment. Because for me, I'm a bit of a harsh father, really. If I was really a bit in that sense, I mean, I think it's like something that someone's told somebody else. I mean, when you're bitten first, you're not going to get bitten twice again. And I think we've seen this before. I know people say that Man City was different, but there's so many other things that I think is very crucial to this as for me as well. The fact that Frankfurt didn't score. They didn't score any goal. They didn't score. They didn't take their chances. And there's so many things that we can go into in this show today. So big up to everybody in the chat. Big up to everybody watching around the world. We're just going to get straight into it. Talk about the game. Talk about what was why I'm not as elate as joyous or what everyone else is saying, like everybody else is at the moment. And one of the reasons is I think it's for me. I mean, I think really Frankfurt kind of worked to our plan. You know, I think they forced it upon us. I think we did look like we pressed very well. We did what we normally do. We pressed very well. We're a very, very good pressing team. That's what Ange likes to do. But at the same time, Frankfurt did work to our strengths, though, in that sense. They were trying to play it through the back. They did sometimes try and play it up the top as well. And we nearly got caught out at the back where a ball was put over the top for Nketiah. And Nketiah went through. And it was a good tackle from Van der Ven. But one of the things I criticise about Van der Ven, and I think he was he timed it very well. I'll give him that. He timed it really, really well. And towards, he was very crucial in the game to keep our defence tight. I have to say that. But he uses his pace way too much to save himself a lot of the time. And I think he doesn't anticipate things like a Van Dijk, like a John Terry, like a Sol Campbell, like a Ledley King back in the day. I think this is a problem with a lot of defenders now these days. I think there's a lot of defenders that, I think Van Dijk's one of a kind now that doesn't need that sort of thing, pace to get him out of the trouble. He anticipates these things. And he's also got a leader. He's got that leadership in him as well. But yeah, that could have gone wrong. It could have gone massively wrong for us if Van der Ven made that tackle and it didn't go well, because he could have been the last man, and that could have risked him getting sent off. Ever so happens though, it didn't happen. That didn't happen like that, and he tackled very well. But we did handle the game really well. I think the fact that what I liked about certain aspects of our game is that we were playing long balls over the top to try and catch Frankfurt rather than trying to keep on playing it, which sometimes is good. It looks good on the eye, but sometimes you just want to just play a ball over the top. And I was glad that we were doing that. Very glad that we were doing that a few times, and that was very crucial in the first goal. Well, the first action of the match, where we taken advantage of getting a penalty and then ended up scoring. And I think that's why Romero, let's be honest here, he was all right. It was a good game. It was a good game for him. Our fullbacks had a good game as well. Vidoji was, very hard working defensively. And you have to be honest here, even though I still think we have to see him next season, you have to look at Berval. Berval is absolutely everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. With Bentancur working well with him as well. I do feel that a lot of people, I think the commentary, Glenn Hoddle, with respect, because he's a legend, absolute legend, I think they were really going up, kissing his backside a lot of the time on the commentary, saying, oh, he looks really good. Oh, he looks this, he looks that. Bentancur has not been looking good. Let's be honest here. Yeah, okay. Today he was mopping. Yesterday he was mopping up things a lot yesterday. But that needs to be a standard for Bentancur. That should be a standard. Let's be honest here. We're not here to, we're not here for, just to say, oh well, let's give him kiss up the backside now because he's had one performance. Let's be honest here. Another thing as well, I thought we're going to crumble in that atmosphere. We didn't. And that's one thing I will say. We didn't crumble in the atmosphere, which is, that's got to be applauded. That's got to be praised. You've got to give them credit for it. The team kept to their task. And whatever we believe, whether it is Andrew or not, or whether it's his backroom staff or someone said it, or the players decided to do it, we'll find out in the next few weeks, because that's where we'll come to later on in the show. It's it was very hard atmosphere to manage, and we managed to get through it, and we have to give them credit for it, definitely. And that's where my mind's at the moment. First half wasn't the best first half, but we got through it, and getting the goal. Romero putting the ball over the top, which was good. Maddison making those runs, and he's very good at making those runs. I think he needs to do it more. I think he needs to be more in the final third. And look what happens. He's in the final third. The goalkeeper makes a really, really careless challenge with his body and really knocks out Maddison. And Maddison, then he's then on the floor. Really, I thought initially it was very careless tackle, and luckily for him, I don't think he was the last man, so it ended up being checked by VAR, and as a result, the referee decided to give us a penalty, which was well deserved in that sense. Luckily, the goalkeeper didn't get a red card, because other referees would have given the red card, I think, in other games. And you have to be honest here. He was very lucky to still be on the pitch. And then a very good penalty from Solanke, who worked very hard. You've got to question him not being in the box a lot of the time. He should have been on the end of some of those crosses, definitely. When we got opportunities, we should have done more. But I did think we suffered a lot. We suffered a lot because of Maddison going off. Kulusevski was okay. He was okay. There was a lot of again, another busy player that runs around a lot, but as you see, sometimes there's not that much final product. Again, when I heard the commentary again, with respect, because they have got their opinions, I've got my opinion, and no one's going to change my opinion. No one's going to change my opinion. But when they were saying that Kulusevski's had a fantastic season, I don't believe that. I think we saw yesterday night again, why Maddison is more effective than Kulusevski. When you can get Maddison in the game, he's very, very, very effective, and he can be very, very dangerous to the opposition. Very dangerous to the opposition. So it's a very like I said, for me, this shows me that we've got the manager's got capability to be defensive, play pragmatic, manage the game. He went to a back three in the end. Now, people have read into it a lot. And I saw that on yesterday's show, when I was on Sava's show. Big up to Sava from Football Heritage TV. The thing is about Sava, right? And I won't. It's all right to speak about other people, YouTubers. In my eyes, when you're just speaking about them, it's not. I'm not kayfabe or anything like that. For me, it's all right to have an argument, to have a disagreement. There's nothing wrong with it. I actually encourage it sometimes on stream, because at least you get it out. This tenseness of we don't want to annoy people There's nothing wrong with that. One thing I don't like, though, when people say, just be happy. Just be happy. Well, you can't tell me how to feel. It's like me saying to you, don't feel the way you're feeling. Stop telling you how to feel you feel. So I think this is where I don't agree with Ian. I think Ian sometimes pushes it a little bit when he says, oh, let's all be happy. I heard it from Matt yesterday. Oh, let's all be happy. No, I need to see more. Like, I cannot be just a Tottenham fan and just see something and then just make my conclusion on just one game. It just isn't me. It has changed my opinion on what the outcome is maybe at the end of the season about this competition now, because now I'm looking at it more favourably for us going forward because of the teams left in the competition. But it doesn't change my opinion on the team. Why has this not been the thing that we've not seen for so long? If this is Ange's tactics, why have we not seen this for so long? Why have we just seen it in spurts like Man City, Brentford, Aston Villa? Why have we not seen it? And that's the question he needs to answer. And then when you see some of his comments in his post-match, you're sitting there thinking, are you trolling us, Ange? Are you trolling us? Are you actually trying to just like make us look like a mugs or here? Like, just because you're saying, oh, well, I bet you, you got to set, have me for a little bit longer. Are you trying to troll us? Like, you know what I mean? It's like, what are you trying to gain from that? You know what I mean? And it was interesting, the conversation we were having yesterday. It was just kind of like, you know what? It's, it's interesting. We had that conversation about, do you think Ange wants to walk? And I wouldn't be surprised if he walks. I wouldn't be surprised if he's asking for the sack. Because if he wins the competition, he's like saying, well, I've done my job. I've won your trophy that no other manager's done since 2008. So it's just, there's so many things, so many angles to this thing about this whole thing with Tottenham this season, especially now that we're in this Europa League semi-final. So many angles to this that I don't just say, oh, we should be happy we just won. There's so many angles to this, and this is where I sit there and laugh at people like Ian telling me, oh, you're just, if you're jealous, you've got no if you're a journalist, you'll just be so excited to say it's all SSSSSSISHIT. You know what I'm trying to say? And I'm looking at different angles. I'm fascinated by it. I'm absolutely fascinated by it. I'm confused, but I'm absolutely fascinated by the fact that this guy. And you saw the articles online. You saw the articles from journalists online about Ange and his position at Tottenham Hotspur and his future. If you saw my video earlier today, and you see the stuff that was coming out saying, "Oh, Ange, if he wins the Europa League, his position is not safe still." Oh well, Ange, if he wins the competition, he'll stay till next season. He's got to win the Europa League. Ange is terrible in interviews. Ange is fans are losing faith. Managers are getting linked with a job like Glasner, Marco Silva, Areola, Andoni Areola. So there's so many things, and now the rhetoric is completely and utterly changed. Completely and utterly changed just by one game. And this is the fascination of this whole thing. The fascination of the whole thing about football and football in general. It just changes overnight. your back's against the wall in one day, and then the following night after a big result like yesterday, which was a massive result for Tottenham, like I said, and there's no dismissing that whatsoever. Everything's changed. Everything has changed. And this is where this is why I'm saying I'm confused. I'm absolutely confused at the moment. Maybe it's emotional. Maybe it's emotion. I don't know, but I'm just confused. I'm really, really confused at the moment, and it's one of those things which I don't know at the moment. Big up to big up to everybody in the chat so far. Big up to everybody. I've got a surprise for everybody. Very, very special guest has just turned up in the back room right now. If anybody knows this guy, he's come on YouTube just recently, and I've taken him under my wing a little bit. Well, not taking him on my wing, but I've just watched over him a little bit, and I've introduced him to a few people. I think he's really, really good. And it's my pleasure to invite somebody to the show today. His name's Elijah. Big up to everybody. Big up to him. And for Too Much OFE. And I'm just going to add in now. Big up to you, bruv. Big up to you, bruv.
Thank you, man. It's an honor.
Big up to you, bruv. How you doing?
I'm doing okay, man. It's an honor to be on the channel, man. I appreciate the invite, man. I'm sorry I'm a bit late, but lateness is greatness, man. I'm glad I'm here, man. Thank you so much for the invite, man.
Well, you don't need to apologize, bruv. Just take it like this. Don't get used to this, bro. You're the third or fourth person on this show, so take that for what you will. Yeah. So thank you for coming, mate. So just quite quick question, easy question. How did you feel about last night?
I was very happy. Yesterday was a great day for me, man. Or the Tottenham game, obviously. The fact we kept a clean sheet is what's most surprising about yesterday. We actually looked solid is a strong word, but we looked a lot better defensively than we've ever looked really under this manager, at least from what I've seen. Even when it hit the 80th minute, we were just clearing the ball. We weren't really full on pressing. We were kind of sitting back towards the end. And actually made some good subs, bringing off the wingers to bring on midfield. Saar and Danso, I think, came on as well. So I can't even fault the manager for not making the right subs. He actually took off attackers to bring on defensive-minded players as well. It was great win of a penalty from Maddison and dispatched well by Solanke. So we did exactly what we needed to do. It was, in some ways, it was a professional win. So I have to give full credit to the players. Sorry, my bad. But I have to give full credit to the players and to be fair to the manager as well, man. It wasn't the type of performance I was expecting because none of us was expecting it really. We know what Ange has been doing because he's done it for 2 years pretty much. And he definitely surprised me. He surprised everyone in the chat. I think he surprised almost pretty much the entire fan base with the way we ended up seeing the game out because I'm pretty sure going into halftime 1-0, we all thought that Ange ball would be in full effect because we've gone to Frankfurt and we're winning. And it wasn't. For the most part, we didn't really overcommit. We didn't high press that much. We pressed a little bit, but we were preserving the lead. That's what we were doing for the most part. So I have to give credit to the players for seeing our win because we can't defend. We're terrible at defending set pieces, open play. We're terrible at defending. So I have to give massive credit to the players and I have to give credit to the manager as well for making the right subs at the right time. It was a roller coaster of a game, man. The game was boring in itself, but roller coaster in terms of we had a 1-0 lead. And Tottenham, we always concede, man. We never keep clean sheets. So I was just waiting for that goal to go in. And as time kept on going on and going on, I'm like, wow, we haven't conceded yet. And it wasn't until the final whistle blew that I was like, wow, we kept a clean sheet. Out of all the places to keep a clean sheet, it was against Frankfurt. So, yeah, it was a great day yesterday watching that game and us taking the win, man.
You know what? I think a lot of people are saying that at the moment. I mean, if you've heard me earlier and other shows, I've had a different take to a lot of people. I think in that sense, the credit will be due, and there's certain things I can agree with you on that one, definitely. It's just a lot of things at the moment. The game yesterday was good in that sense, and you agree about the clean sheet. It's just I think, and especially the atmosphere. I think the atmosphere for me, dealing with an atmosphere like that, and and I think we've got to give a lot of credit to people, the players, because it was a hostile atmosphere. Because you saw a lot of people, a lot of fans throwing stuff at the players as well. So,
Yeah.
which was out of order in that sense, because we've done it to other teams at our ground. So it's not right. It's not right at all. So a lot of credit. I just think it's one game where I know it's a big game, massive game. It changes a lot of aspects of where we think the season's going to go. Definitely, where we look the favourites for this competition now. We do look the favourites now for this competition now. Because I do look at Bodo Glimt as someone that we can definitely beat very easily. We can beat, but it's still lots of question marks. I said earlier. I think it's Andrew's trolling us. Andrew's trolling us right now, man. You know what I mean? So because it's what he said after the post match as well. It's like. There's something there, isn't it? There's something there, isn't it?
Man. He
where's
might be
this come from?
I think it's just because this is the only chance left. Like, even when we had the Carabao Cup, he might have been banking on the fact that I could get away with maybe playing the same style because we have Europa League. But everything is on the table right now. This is it. So I think Ange might try and actually win this trophy. And if he does leave at the end of it, I can't blame him. I mean, to be fair, I would have wanted him gone regardless. If he was going to win the Europa League, I'd want him to stay. But if it was up to me, he would have been sacked like November, December times, or at least after the Tamworth game. So if he wins it, hey, look, Ange, appreciate the trophy, man. You're going to be up there in terms of Tottenham managers, especially in the 21st century alone. But yeah, if he ends up winning it and leaving, I can't blame him. So I mean, he's finally changing it up. That's all I've asked for him. See a game out, change it up. He's finally doing that. So as long as Ange's doing it like this, I don't have a problem with it. Because my biggest problem is that he wouldn't do it. That was the biggest problem for me.
Yeah, I absolutely, I can see what you're saying there, Elijah. And I've got another surprise for everybody in the audience tonight, because I've got another special guest. You'll know about him because I keep on bigging up his channel, and it's not Marlon, the underrated. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'll bring to you someone that's ignoring my calls recently, but big up to him. It's Smatic. Big up to Smatic. How you doing,
family? Hey, good Friday.
You've been ignoring calls, bro. What's going on, Ash?
Good Friday, you get me? Dumpling, planting.
I'm joking.
Hook it up, brother. Get it?
What's up with the hair? What's happening with the hair? You got your hair done or something like that? It looks a little bit more snazzy. You got your hair done or something?
Come on. Easter settings, bro. Come on. Easter settings. You know I'm outside already, innit? So come on. You gotta look sharp for the weekend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We got this part of our life, and then we got this part of our life.
No.
I want to do too much. You know what I'm saying?
He's not gonna have a good Friday. He's gonna be sitting on Good Friday. It's crazy.
We're trying to make the Good Friday great Friday. You know what I'm saying? So,
big up to you, man. Yeah,
start early. Blessings, man, brothers. Man,
thank you for coming. Thank you for coming, because I didn't know if you were coming as well. And but big up to you. What question? Same question to you. What do you think about yesterday?
Yesterday was a professional performance, bro. We got the job done. As simple as that. You know what I'm saying? Big up to the coaching staff, because I know it was them, man, innit? You know what I'm saying? You know it was them, man. Come on, let's be real. Because if we had played like that,
Thank you, you're saying that, Buff.
season,
Thank you, you're saying
we
that,
play
bro.
like
Because
this,
exactly why I'm saying. Because if you heard me earlier, Bob, I'm saying Ange is trolling us, bro. He's
brother, I
trolling
wanted
us,
to get him
bro.
in a headlock. I said, "How dare you let us suffer this whole season?" I said, "Brother, why couldn't you do this earlier?" You know what I'm saying? Why couldn't you just do these type of? We would be so much higher up the table. We wouldn't be having these emergency meetings and all these kind of, yeah, brother. Like, you know, it is what it is. But like, that was that. I think every Spurs fan needed that. I'll be real, bro. I think they needed that for the season we've had, and the misery and the separation and the arguments and the toxicity and all the rest of it. I think that the boys, especially the boys, actually the players as well, because the players have been getting it, bro. I'll be real. Players have been getting bare abuse. And it was good to see them like go to the away end and celebrate. And even the staff, when the final whistle went, the staff were going, mate, they were going crazy on the bench. So I said, you know what? Hats off, fair play, you know. What can you say? What can you say? I thought Frankfurt was slightly poor. I thought I'd expect a little bit more. And those chances that dropped to my man, was it Christensen?
Yeah, he bluffed a few chances.
Thank goodness, though, innit? Thank goodness. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, overall, I just thought we defended a lot better over the 2 legs. I think over the 2 legs, we deserved it as well, if I'm being totally honest. But yeah, Frankfurt, yeah. Ekatike, he was upset, bro. He looked like he was in tears, bro. You see him do the whole.
I think he was pissed off. He was.
You know what I mean? He thought that was his.
Yeah,
but when you're winners, that's what you're gonna do. You're gonna compete. But I'll be honest with you guys. I'll be deadly serious. When we had that back five together, I felt like they look a lot better. When Vicario's in goal, Romero, Van der Ven, Porro on the right, the doggy on the left, and I just thought Van der Ven gave a doggy that kind of assurance to allow him to push forward, whereas he's had other defenders behind him. And he's like, you know, when you're in two minds, because like there's a player, you've got a mark and you're like, right, do I push up or am I going to leave the space in behind? And I thought like his performance was a doggy I expect to see. Do you know what I'm saying? This season, the doggy's been off it.
Yeah.
And then
that's my biggest problem with him.
Yeah. I don't know if this is a one-off, bro. So I don't want to but I'm just saying, when I saw it, when I was watching it, I was like, wow, when the back five are there together, it just looks so much different. It looks so much different to me.
Well, you had somebody on your show on Tuesday, that you had at the end. I forgot his name now. The coach, not the other guy that left early. The other one, JJ. Yeah, and he said about Spence.
Yeah,
he goes out of position, and it was crucial for one of the goals for Wolves.
Yeah,
but Adoji doesn't do that.
Yeah.
And that's why Adoji plays more than Spence, basically. Because I know a lot of people were against Adoji playing because Adoji hasn't been playing well recently.
Yeah.
But the thing is, though, that one of the goals that he's been culpable for some of the goals that we've been letting in recent times, Spence, because he's out of position in certain times. He's not in line with the defence. Even though he was waffling a lot, JJ, on your stream. I've got to be honest, bruv. I'll be honest with you. And I would have told him to his face as well if you got me on.
Bro, you might come on whenever you want, bro. You don't even need an invite. Just
I would have told him for the next week's show. So, with respect, because everybody's got their own opinion. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just come on, man.
But it was a good point. And I think it was highlighted very well yesterday.
Yes,
I have to be honest. Because Spence didn't get on yesterday. He didn't get on yesterday. You know what I mean? You know? One question I want to ask is, to both of you. I'll start with you, Elijah. Right? Devil's advocate. If Tottenham let in a goal if let in that goal, or Christensen scored the goal, the equalising goal, do you think we'd have gone to 3 at the back?
No. Basically, when you've been defending, because when you're holding a lead for so long, it's really hard to get back in the game when you concede. And especially if we'd gone 1-0 up with Solanke, we're basically trying to hold a lead for 45 minutes. And we all saw the way we played. Professional, not high pressing all the time, mid to lowish kind of block, especially when Danso and them come on. If we concede late on, the game's done for us, because when you're sitting back and you're in the mindset of you got to sit back and protect something, when you lose it, a lot of players, it's really hard to just switch back and go back to attacking, trying to get a goal. And most of the times I've seen teams trying to protect the lead for an extended period of time. When they lose the lead, they don't get it back. And I don't even mean lose the lead as in being 1-0 up and the game is still 50-50 and then they concede and then you go score. I mean, you're sitting back to win something. Like the first time I ever saw something like that was Real Madrid versus Atletico Madrid Champions League final. I forget what year it was, maybe 2014, 2015, something like that. But Atletico parked the bus for the whole game. As soon as they went 1-0 up, over 60 minutes of just parking the bus, trying to go 1-0, and Ramos equalizes in the very last minute, I feel like the 94th minute. It's hard for you to get back to trying to play 50-50 after something like that. And I feel like the same thing would have happened to Tottenham. Remember the Arsenal-Man City game earlier, I think it was earlier this season, the 2-2, where they defended for 45 minutes straight and conceded the last minute. Like, you can't get yourself back up to play for that because you spent so long trying to defend. When that goal goes in, it's like all the energy is just paused, sucked right out of you. And it's like, you can't just go because like you've spent all that time defending, trying to hold on to your lead, and then you lose it. It's like, if we had to go to extra time after that, it would have been peak. I'm not going to lie. It would have been peak. I wouldn't have seen us winning. So I don't think he goes back 3 if we concede. I don't think that we win the game if we concede, just because the amount of energy and dedication it takes to preserve a lead. If we lose it, it would have been long.
Yeah, I think changing to a back 3, I was impressed. I was like, wow, they're literally trying to win the game here. You know what I'm saying? Game management, tweaking. I said, what's going on here? This is very unusual. So yeah, when I saw that, I think if they had scored, I don't think we would have gone to a back 3. I think we would have been chasing the game a bit more, like Elijah was saying. And the problem with Spurs this season is that we've been conceding goals at the very beginning. Like, what's going on? So we're always chasing the game. Throughout that season, we've been lapses of concentration, players having bozo moments as well, you name it, mistakes. And when you're chasing the game constantly, every game you're chasing, you don't have that chance to kind of like hold on to a lead and be solid. And I think in a one-off game, that tactic was right. And that's how you win matches. That's how you win cups. Do you know what I'm saying? That's how you get it over the line. When you're in a one-off game and you're just trying to see out the result and you're like, lads, let's just be tight. Let's be compact. Let's close down the distances to make it awkward for them and force them out wide, which we did well, because I didn't think they were able to play through us. There was a time when I saw TK had the ball and, you know, he's quite elegant with his feet. And then because it came to nothing, like there was no movement from anyone else when he was inside the box and he had nowhere to run because we had so many bodies in there, he had to come out. Do you understand? And then he kind of put his arms up in frustration, like, oh, you know what I mean? And then like it came to nothing. So I was like, lads, well done. Because there were even at one point we brought on Papamata Sarr on because, you know, we've been defending so much, the legs started to get a little bit tired. So I was like, all right, cool, I get it. Sarr's going to be the extra legs, extra energy, defensive cover. He's going to help try to win those balls back and, you know, keep it simple. So I got the substitution. Danso coming on, 3 at the back. We've all been calling for it as well. So we can't complain when it happens. Do you know what I'm saying? So I said, hats off to the staff, man. Hats off to the coaching team. Big up, Ange included. Look, give him like it's a one-off game. What happens against Forest? That's a different debate. You know what I'm saying? What happens against Bodo Glint in 2 weeks' time when we're at home? I think personally, I don't know if we're going to answer this, but I think against Bodo Glint, we've got to get the job done because them man there, they've punched up Porto, they've beaten obviously Lazio last night. They obviously beat them in the first leg. But you know what it is? It's the plastic pitch, my guys. It's the 3D pitch. You know, the ones there. When you play in those 3D pitches, that mashes up your knees, mashes up your back. So it's a thing. Do we risk playing like Van der Ven away at Bodo Glint. Because if he gets injured, we're back to square one. I think. Do you know what I mean? Whether you rate him or not, I just think that defensive line, when they're all together, that back five, we just look a lot better, in my opinion. But yeah, that 3G pitch, whatever you want to call it, that fake grass, them man have been having fun. You know what I'm saying? So we got to get the job done at home.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think we're favourites now. And it's weird me saying it, Asthmatic. It's weird me saying it because it's just I think if it was Lazio, we were having a different conversation. But they lost 3-1 yesterday, Bodo Glint. And I think they got suspensions as well for a few players as well. So I think it's working in our favour massively. And then, so I think the final, we'll get to the final. What we get, Man United or Atletico Bilbao, it's anyone's lottery, isn't it? For me, you know what I mean? Because Man United not great.
So what happened was they lost 2-0 at home. I mean away. Lazio lost 2-0 away, but then they won 3-1 on the night, which made it I think 4-4 in aggregate or something like that.
Yeah.
And then they went to penalties, obviously, and then they got knocked out on penalties. But it just shows that this team, they've got goals in them. You know, we're looking at it like Bodo Glint.
Nah. You always got to respect your opponent because, like you said before, Lazio would have been a problem, and they knocked out Lazio. So if they knocked out, what would have been a problem for us, then that means they're also a problem, fam.
Brother. I heard Bear man. I see Bear away fans like, we're going to Bilbao. We're going to. I said, listen, this is Spurs. I can't lie. Just keep it calm. Keep like, you know what I'm saying?
But let's be honest here, though, Asthmatic. Yeah, if we don't get to the final from here right now, because this is not a difficult route to the final. Let's be honest here, right?
Compared to
Frankfurt this was the challenge. This was the challenge. Let's be honest here. Away from home at Frankfurt, right? Because if they scored, I would have liked to have seen what we would have done then. But we kept it tight. We kept a clean sheet. It's kind of similar to Man City, because if Man City scored against us in that 4-0 win, I think, you know, we would have seen some jitters in our defence. I've got to be honest. But in the same thing with Brentford, same thing for me, right? You might think it's different, but I think yesterday was impressive. The fact that we kept a clean sheet away from home, that was very good for me. That was the main thing. But when you go to Bodo Glint, if you can finish off the tie in the first leg, right?
This is what I'm saying.
I don't think the defensive are very good. Right? You just need to manage the second leg, and then you're in the final.
True.
You know what I mean? And like I say, I don't look at that side and think, oh, we've got no chance. And this is me. I don't like hand for Sokolgu. This is me.
Yeah.
I mean, we messed it up. I think he should be sacked on the spot. Let's be honest here. You know what I mean? Like, he's trolling us big time. Like, he's a troll, basically. You know what I mean? I'm now getting to that point now where because if you watch his post-match, it's like, come on now, man. You know what I mean? Come on now.
But wouldn't you do that though? I'll be trolling, man. But, you might gonna have to put up with me a little bit longer. I know you guys want me out, but guess what? I'm here. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'll be having the same type of chest, same type of energy after them, man. I say, man's a fat Aussie, this, that, and the other. Do you know, like, what we doing here? Like,
I hear it though. You know what I'm saying? I fully hear it. I hear it, man. You better not lose though. Talking that talk.
So you know the biggest troll in the business, like they say. You know what I mean? But you know, that's another conversation. But you know, as you were, you guys. You go on.
No, I'm saying, look, Celtic played them, yeah. Ange Postecoglou played Bodo Glint in 2022, yeah.
I saw this.
And and he lost them both games, home and away. How about that? Yeah, 2-0 and 3-1. So I'm just saying, and that Celtic team, obviously, that was the team that I think they did the double. Did they do the double that season when he first came over for Celtic?
Probably, yeah.
So it's he's got experience against them. That's one thing I
Not
will
great
say.
experience,
But it's just not positive, isn't it? But what I will say then, he'll look at that and he won't underestimate them. He will know the team. He will know maybe one or two of the players. His homework's pretty much done. So there's no excuses for him not to get it done. So I agree with you in that sense, Alex. But yeah, like for me, I'm just saying, look, I know what Spurs are like, innit? I know what Spurs have got in it. They've got this in them. It will be so Spursy for us to get knocked out by Bodo Glint. You know what I'm saying? Get to the semis and not get it done. I would prefer, if I'm being honest, I don't know if I prefer Manu or Bilbao. I can't.
United, definitely United.
I'm not. Do you know why I call Tottenham? To get Man United, beat them in all the games that don't matter, and then the one game. Elijah, come on.
I know, but like, if we don't do this Wendy's 4 for 4, I can't lie. Heads are gonna be gone, bro. Heads are gonna be gone. Heads gonna be gone,
definitely,
bro. Ash, I will not
head. You know what it is? You know what it is? All season, I've been getting it for these rivals. I've been getting it, and when Man United equalized, I was like, I did not want them to get through. I was so pissed. And then when they scored at the end, Maguire, have you seen the commentators?
2 goals. I haven't seen the highlights. Bro,
have you heard the commentators?
I was still like miserable.
They don't care about the Tottenham win. You see this channel, like they don't care about Spurs. It's all about Man United right now. It's all about the combat. They're comparing it to 99. Listen. I said, typical Manchester, just to take the headlines all away from us. Our one little piece of glory. And look, they're back in it. I was a dog, man.
At one point, I was like, if it is Man United, though, it'll be a terrible game. It'll be a terrible game, I think, for me. Do you think it's going to be a good game?
Why would it be a terrible game?
Well, we're going to win, so it'll be a great game.
Huh?
We're gonna win, so it'll be a great game.
No. I'm saying I'm saying it won't be good football. It won't be good
football. No chance.
I don't think it'll be an exciting game. Exciting game for me.
But to be fair to Elijah, like Man United are missing Xerxes, innit? Their striker, and I think they've got 2 injuries in midfield as well. So they're not fully strengthened, and they're not fully strengthened going into some of these ties, innit?
I know, but we weren't fully strengthened when we played them, and we still won as well. So, I just personally, we have a better team than them.
Yeah, I agree
with this practical, and obviously, I guess it's one game in it, so we're gonna have to see what happens against Bodo. But if we have this practical Ange and this practical coaching staff, I know we'll score first, bro. So I'm getting carried away. I'm getting in my delusional bag. I was up at 4 a.m. popping it on stream to a United fan. We was already having that back and forth. So I've got the adrenaline. You know what I'm saying? I've got the adrenaline. I've already been talking my talk to United fans. But I believe that, depending on what I see from Bodo, because if it just so happens that this 1-0 at Frankfurt it just happened to be that one game we were practical. And even if we needed to be practical against Bodo, we weren't, but we somehow got through. Then I'm looking at it like because United are still United. No matter what team they have, no what manager they have, their club just has European pedigree where we don't. So at that point, United are definitely the favorite to win it over us. But I just want to see what we look like not even in the Premier League, but I guess in terms of what Ange chooses in terms of lineups. But against Bodo, I want to see the sort of practicality, because they're not harder than Frankfurt. They're a hard team, and we can't look past them to the final. They're the immediate opposition, and we got to make sure we deal with them properly. But it's not harder than Frankfurt. That's one thing I will say.
What are you man saying though in terms of the league before we go back to the European talk again? Like, do you think we should rest players to spin off the league completely, or do you think players should start to play like Vicky van der Ven said? He was asked a question about his injuries and not playing every game. He's like, I've wanted to play every game. I've been ready. Do you know what I'm saying? So do you think it's right for them to kind of be protective and wrap him in cotton wool and not play him against Nottingham Forest? Or do you think that, we should play him? We should play our strongest team between now and the end of the season to have to respect. Because technically, if we did and we went on a run, for example, I know. I'm just saying. Look, I know. Breathe, guys. And we won our next 5 or 6 games, and we ended
only
up
have
finishing
6 games left. We only
Yeah,
have
that's what
6
I'm
games.
saying. If we won all of our games, if we won
This
all of our
includes
games,
Liverpool, Nottingham Forest, and Aston Villa, by the way.
I said what I said.
Yeah.
I said what I said.
You need to stop saying it.
I said what I said.
You need to stop saying it.
He
You're
doesn't like it.
you're rattling Elijah, Bob. You're
doesn't like
rattling Elijah, Bob.
He doesn't like it. He doesn't like it. We caught
Nah,
Liverpool. Imagine we did the unthinkable. We managed to beat Liverpool. I know it's way too delusional for you. It's too high. I know.
Nah,
but imagine
you
we
know,
managed
Van
to
der Ven
do
wants to
that
play.
crazy thing, mash up Liverpool at their ground, stop them from winning the title in it, straight away. And then we went on this run and we won all these games. We ended up finished 7th.
That's even more crazy than winning 6 games, finishing 7th.
Right. I'm just saying, we ended up finishing 7th now. We've got, and then we win the cup. There's the narrative then change.
It does change it. It does change it a little bit. I mean, but it's still.
And he's playing pragmatic as well, lads.
Well,
he's getting that early goal, and then he's like, right, you know what? 70 minutes left. 3 defenders on again. It worked before. I like this kind of tactic.
But the difficulty is though, asthmatic though, is for me, is he gonna do this consistently? You see what I'm saying? Because this is where my issue is at the moment. Okay, against Forest, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna go back to handball? You know what I mean?
This is what I'm asking. This is why I'm asking it.
I just think, for me at the moment, the league's done for me. I don't really care anymore. You know what I mean? So for me, if I was Ange right now, like if I want to, for me, like
listen, if we get beat by Forest bad, and we play Edge ball, you can't then now say you can't get emotional about I see Edge ball's back. Look, because you just said the league's done. That's what you just said, didn't it, Elijah? You hear that? You said the league's done. Yeah. So you can't come on no rants.
That's why it's like look at the stuff that happened against Wolves. It's like, I was like annoyed in the moment, but it's like we know what the game really counts, bro. It was yesterday at this point.
Yeah.
So
it was.
like, you know what I'm saying? We've seen it, man. Like United, obviously the way they played is to be desired, but then against Lyon, they had that comeback, you know. So I'm more looking at the players that's going to be rested, more so the tactics. That's what I'm really looking for, because obviously we don't play next week, Thursday. It's in 2 weeks now, so it'll be interesting to see who gets rested, who plays. And in terms of Van der Ven, of course he wants to play, but I also want him to not get injured every 2 months. But he does. So if we're talking about what we want, listen, you don't get what you want in life, because I want him to be playing. I want him to be healthy, but he's not healthy. So while your hamstring pops like it's Play-Doh every 2 months, I'm going to need you to be on ice, bro, because this is the business end of the season where we need you in the Europa League. It is what it is. You want to play Champions League football that bad? Then sit your ass down on the bench in the Premier League and don't play. That's what it is, man. That's what I need from him. Danso's back
what
now
I'm
as well.
saying. So I'll go on box office. I know you want to comment. Go on.
Listen, you're right. You are right, Asmatic. Yeah, you are right by what you're saying.
I don't want to hear no narratives flip-flopping. I don't want to hear not even just you, I'm talking about the fan base. I'm talking about YouTubers.
You got your microphone in your thing, like, bro. You like they do.
You want to make sure you hear him, bro. You know what I'm saying?
40, bro. Say that, bro. 40. I'm joking.
Oh god.
You're right. You're right. I mean, I'm just so conflicted at the moment still, because I just need. Thing is, though, I'm more about consistency, bro. I'm about consistency, right? And for me at the moment, okay, you know what? I'll change my answer. I'm being a flip-flop right now. I'm sorry, I think he's got to have to play proper team against Forest and Liverpool for me. I'm sorry. I just need to see some consistency, Asmatic, because I need to see this for real if he's learning. You know what I mean? Because it's like it's pointless for me not to take the Premier League seriously still, because like he does this performance against Frankfurt. Is that because of circumstance? You get what I'm saying? Because he did this against certain games. He did this in certain games early on in the season. You know what I mean? He did that against Man City. He did this against Brentford. So for me at the moment, it's all about I think now I've got to take the league seriously, even though the league's done and dusted. I've got to take it seriously because I need to see that he's learning.
So you say
And you
performances
even said
matter.
it yourself. You're saying you've got to give some credit to the coaches, so you don't even believe it yourself, bro.
Yeah,
You don't even
100%,
believe it
yeah.
yourself.
I don't believe in myself. Of course, that's why I asked the question.
Well,
That's why I asked the question.
That's what. And the thing is, that I was
No,
on,
yeah, I don't know, man.
Gabba's show yesterday, and like I was just
Mm.
saying the point. It's like, and then people started saying you need to be happy. I was like, but I'm confused. I'm so confused. You know what I mean? Because this guy is
We
been
all are.
saying,
We all are.
yeah,
We all are. That's why everyone's flip flopping.
so
Do you understand?
confused and conflicted.
Not
at the
everyone,
moment.
but
It's like we've been asking for so long. So is it because his job was so on the line? Because we saw the reports. You know what I mean? Like I said earlier.
I said it. I think it's the
Yeah,
coaching
that's what
stuff.
it
To
was.
be honest with you, I think it's the coaching stuff. That's
think
why
it's
when
the
I
But,
see them
coaching
come
stuff
up
as
and celebrate like they
well.
did, I think
Don't get used to it though, but that's a fantastic point, by the way. Fantastic point for you. You
don't
was,
get used to it. I was waiting for that
you was,
catchphrase,
you
bro.
was anyway.
You
You
know,
was
I'm gonna get that T-shirt.
anyway.
Don't get used to
yeah,
it.
you could put on a t-shirt, man. Don't get used to it. You know what I'm
Exclamation
saying?
mark! Exclamation mark!
Yeah,
But
I
no,
don't know.
I'm saying like for me in the league, I'm not mad if he does rest players. But what I want to see then is you have to switch up the way you play. We can't then start playing high lines, squeezing the pitch, trying to press them, play the same way that you've been playing for that whole season when we know it doesn't work, when you know you don't have the players for it. If you've got certain players in certain positions, you have to play to their strengths. That's all I want to see. And that's what I mean by adapt. Does that make sense? I want to give some
Yeah.
context to that. Like,
Yeah.
look at your player profile, look at his personality, know what he's good at, and understand, all right, cool. Because this man's playing with this man and their relationship's a bit different. Like what do you not think of Tell, for example? Tell for me, like, it wasn't like mad impressive, but for him versus Son, I'm like, he gives a different outlet to what Son's doing. Son for me always goes backwards, and when he's picking up that ball deep in that pitch, like in our own half or in that defensive third, when we're trying to build up, Son's not really good 1v1 to kind of help bring that ball up, or he's not really good at ball carrying to help push the team up the pitch, if that makes sense, or linking the play with some of his players. Sometimes he's all right, but to me, he's sometime-ish, innit? And I just felt the doggy played well because Tell was a bit more adventurous, and if he couldn't go on the outside, he was happy to go on the inside, fake something, and then get his shot off. Do you know what I'm saying? And I wanted to see a little bit more like that from Son throughout the season. I think Tell will be in there. I'm saying in the one-off game, innit? From yesterday. That's all I'm trying to bring that example. I thought that's why a doggy kind of
his best
was a
performances
bit
have been
better.
on the left. Like Tell's best performances in a Tottenham shirt have been on the left-hand side. So I'm not surprised. And to be fair, Son he's just fatigued, man. And to be fair, if he was carrying that injury line for the last couple of weeks, it does explain why the last couple of weeks anyway he's been kind of off the pace a bit. But yeah,
I think he's
Tell
been off all season. To be
he's
fair,
been off
Son.
all season, yeah. But I think he's just been misused by the man. Like,
Yeah,
he's never been a
100%.
creative player in his life. So now to be a touchline creative winger, like, that's not his game. And then pressing when he's like 33, it's like he was doomed to fail, in my opinion. But yeah, Tell and
that, sorry to interrupt you, Elijah. You know that I said this on a video yesterday that Van der Ven and Tell are very good luck charms for Frankfurt. Good luck charms against Frankfurt. Did you know that? That whenever they play, they've I think Van der Ven's played them 3 times. He's won once and drew 2 times.
I guess because Bundesliga, isn't it? Wolfsburg and
Yeah. And I think Tell, I don't know whether it was him coming on. I don't know, but I think he's won 3. I think 2 times or something like that, or draw 1. I can't remember it anyway. But yeah, I think they've got some good. I think they're good luck charm. They've looked as anyway in one article anyway from a journalist anyway. But that was it. Really.
The most important thing of us is having players on each wing who's not afraid to try something. Now, whether they're good enough at pulling it off is another question, because we'll see Odebear cook with the under-21s against England, and then he can't do it in the actual Premier League or in the actual Europa League. So
Are you
just a question
surprised
of
that
what
Alderweireld?
level.
Sorry to interrupt you again, but did you? Were you both? This is both to you. Firstly, to Elijah. Are you surprised that Alderweireld wasn't playing to that yesterday?
Yeah, I would have started him over Brandon, in my opinion. Uh, just because I think he just offers more. I thought it would have been the game going into it where I didn't think that we would have any like proper chances, especially for starting Tell. He's the player that's looking to shoot more. He's the player looking to score because that's naturally his game. So I didn't really see many cutbacks happening from the left side because that's how Brennan gets most of his goals, to cut back from the left side. And he's able to, with the striker faking a run, he's able to go and tap the ball and then deliver a good finish. But with the lineup of Tell and Brennan Johnson, they're both players looking to score. And I would have wanted to, ironically, which is what we did, not commit too much, which means that the attackers would have to create for themselves. Meaning, I'd rather an Odebear who is more of a creator rather than a scorer in some aspects, in terms of the way I've seen him play and off the right, especially. So I would have rather had Odebear in instead of Brennan Johnson, because when he's not scoring, he doesn't offer that much in terms of getting past his man, and it's even if he does offer more, it's not enough in terms of he's not doing it enough and consistently enough for him to not only be a starting right winger for Tottenham, but to also start over someone like Odebear, who at least tries to take past his man, at least tries to put ball into the box, at least tries to dribble past players or do a 1-2 and run off, and at least he's somewhat physical with the ball at times. Brennan Johnson doesn't do any of that. So I would have rather had Odebear in there. But yeah, Tell definitely outplayed Son compared to what Son's been doing this season, just because he's young, he wants to drive with the ball, he wants to shoot, he wants to score. And I think it just, you fill your head with more confidence, especially being 1-0 up at the time. You kind of fill your head with more confidence as time goes on.
I think basically, and this is the conspiracy in my head, like the mole thing. Everyone's like, the mole's around. And just like, there's a mole in the camp, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, his job was at risk. So he's thrown out any type of deflection at the moment, any type of excuse, rare tear, tear. I think the mole was right. Brother's injured. It's as simple as that. You know what I'm saying? I think the brother's injured. And I was waiting to see if he come on, because that kind of confirmed my suspicions, innit? Remember the first time it was announced, it was like, oh yeah, the hamstring thing with Odebear. And then like he put him on the bench, like, see guys, look, the mole was wrong, blah, blah, blah. They've not even got the information right. Fake news like Trump. You know what I'm saying? But he didn't play. And then the other game, before the game we played on yesterday, he didn't feature. And then again today, he didn't feature again. Brennan played the whole 90 minutes. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think he's injured, and I think it's that proves to me those training sessions he's doing, he's mashing up the players, bro. He's mashing up the players. They keep getting injured. They keep picking up hamstring issues. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because before Odebear come here at Burnley, he played a whole season. No problems, brother. You know what I'm saying? Solanke, the same. No issues. You know what I'm saying? All of a sudden, he's getting mashed up. Other players, no injuries. As soon as they come to Spurs, injuries. Son, I was surprised, yeah, that even though he had a foot injury and he was sore, I thought he might have traveled with the boys because he's the captain.
What?
To be in the dressing room, to G them up.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Because I remember when Rodri first got injured and he picked up his Ballon d'Or award, he was still traveling with Man City, still G'ing them up, still trying to
I think
talk in the
Saka
dressing room.
was traveling with Arsenal, wasn't he? Was he traveling with Arsenal?
I don't even know. I don't know. I just say this is my conspiracy, guys. So I'm happy to be in the mud here. But I just thought, right, Son, has he lost it? Like, not lost his head, but is he up? Like, is he? I don't know. Like, if he's fallen out of love or whatever. So I thought it was a bit strange that Son didn't travel at all. So clearly that injury might be more serious than we thought, because they've always say like, oh, it's a small injury, and before you know it, 1 week turns into 2 weeks, 2 weeks turn into 3 weeks. It's like, I don't know,
That's
man.
how it was with Van de Ven as well, bro. We thought he was back, played 45 minutes and was gone for like 2 months, bro. But
this is why I'm nervous about that 3G pitch, bro. I'll be honest with you, because imagine Van de Ven playing on that 3G pitch and my lower back connected to into my hamstrings, my calf. Who knows, man? We need these players for the final. I'll be totally honest. So I'm tempted to rest Van de Ven for that second leg on that
He has
free
to be a
kick.
safety option. But that means because we play at home first, if we don't take care of business at home, I know we're saying against Frankfurt and we happen to get past them anyways, but and of course Bodo's not as good, but we still got to respect them, respect the fact that they knocked out Lazio and Porto, which means they are a formidable side. We have to at least go into the game with some type of advantage because we want to be able to not necessarily rest players, but rest players. You know, if we're able to bring off people in the second leg, 60 minutes in, get that little bit of extra rest just to prevent any injuries as well. We got to do it, man. We got to try and just get everything done. It's home court advantage for a reason. We need to take advantage of it. We have to make sure they ain't got nothing to play for by the time we go back.
What do you man think of Oh, go on. Sorry, go on.
No. You go. I
was gonna say, what do you man?
Questions coming.
No,
I was gonna say something.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, what do you man think of Solanke and his performance? Because obviously he scored the pen, which was important. But in terms of like being a number 9, that whole conversation, 7 goals in the league this season, 2 assists, 9 goals contribution, paid 65 million for him. Obviously against Wolves, Richarlison, hardly any touches, comes in, scores straight away. And I'm not even rating Richie like that. You know what I'm saying? I call him Richard. So, like, if I'm going at Richarlison for not banging in goals, but he scored more goals than him,
yeah,
should I have the same shade against Solanke? But then people are saying that, you know, Solanke does so much off the ball that you have to commend him defensively. He presses very well, wins the ball back. Sometimes he doesn't score the goal, but he's involved in the goal. Like he makes the key pass, or he will win that ball back and then pass it to someone that then will cross the ball into the box and then that person finishes it off.
Yeah.
Is he the sacrificial lamb that you say, right, all right, he's not scoring the goals, but because he's in that AND system, that's the reason why we're not seeing the best of Solanke? Or is it a case of, nah, you know what, Solanke's just, he needs to be doing a lot more in that position, he needs to be scoring goals. Like, we need a better striker. We need to look for a new number 9.
You know what it is with Solanke, right? And to be fair, Richarlison will fall into this as well, but they're both, from what I've seen this season, because I didn't watch them at Bournemouth, they're rhythm players. They need to be in the rhythm in order to see the best of them, especially in front of goal. And what will happen a lot with Solanke, he doesn't have that rhythm in front of goal because of all the stuff he's doing in terms of the build-up play. And then by the time later on in the game, he's fatigued because of the pressing. So one thing I will say about Solanke is, while I do like what Solanke does, and of course you have to give him credit, he shouldn't have to be doing that, if we're being honest. He shouldn't have to be. And a lot of the times, and this is something that I like about Bergvall, and I'm not the biggest Bergvall fan of all means. George has been on my case because I call Bergvall 5 to 6 out of 10 as of right now, which I think is a compliment. If you're 19 years old and you're already like at the level of an average Premier League player, I think that's a compliment. But I'm telling you, people who are dick sucking, they close their eyes in it, so they can't see what's right in front of them. But that's a story for another day. But when it comes to players like that, what I like about them is that they can just create something out of nothing. Like the game could be going terribly for them and they can just have that one moment of quality and it's like they're always switched on. Whereas some other players, it'll take like a rhythm, getting used to it, getting into the flow of the game. And then before you know it, everything's clicking for them. And I think Solanke is one of those rhythm players. So in a game where we're not creating much attacking wise, he's not getting a lot in the game, I feel like he's just going to look off the pace throughout the whole game. And that's why I feel like he doesn't score. Like there are flash chances where it's like, yo, Solanke, you should have scored that. But I think Solanke is a rhythm player. Like against Fulham when it was 0-0, missed a chance. There's probably other points, I think, against Fulham as well. But there's times where it's like, Solanke, you should have scored that. But then that's his only proper chance of the game. And it's like, we should be, if we're going to be playing as a striker in this system, we need a striker who, no matter what time it is, they can just bag a goal. You know what I'm saying? Like Mateta, Isak, Haaland, I know the level of striker I'm naming right now, but in terms of those type of strikers where they can be uninvolved in the game for 86 minutes, and in the 87th minute they get that one chance and it's a goal, and that's the winner right there. Solanke will miss that chance because he's been out of the game and he needs the rhythm, which is fair enough. Some people are like that, but Richarlison's like that as well. But yeah, in terms of the way the strikers are used in the system, part of the build-up play, not necessarily going to get a bunch of chances. We'll need that type of mentality player, a player who can just, when the ball falls to them at that moment and you need something, it doesn't matter if you've touched the ball once or 100 times, you know what that person's going to do with it. That was a Harry Kane kind of player in terms of up top. Of course, we can't attract that caliber anymore, but that's the type of striker we need. So I don't blame Solanke, but again, I think it's just a bad profile selection in terms of the club.
I think that's very interesting. You say that about ribbon players. For me, I think he worked really hard. I'll give him that. I think this is where I if it would have been very interesting if we lost the goal and it was 1-1. They got an equalising goal, Frankfurt, because we were so defensive and didn't really have that much of an attack, especially when Maddison came off. That's when I was very concerned. We did have chances on set pieces, so I'll give him that. And really, Romero should have scored from his header, and when it went wide. And there was other chances as well where we got it in the box, but we just couldn't. We weren't very good in that final third, but we just were very, very, very tooth. It wasn't as vintage as what we usually are. You know what I mean? For a team that scored the most goals, well, I think the third most goals in the Premier League, we were very toothless. It looked like to me, like I said, and I think this is why it goes back to Asmati's point about the coaches maybe having a word rather than Ange doing it. You know what I mean? It just seems to me, it could be a mixture of the coaches and the players, if I'm really honest with you.
Yeah.
Because I think they looked at it and thought, you know, we've got to be defensive. You know, they're coming at us. The stadium's like a cauldron. You know, you saw people throwing stuff at them, and you know, we just got to keep it tight. And we've got this momentum. We've got something to hold on to, and that's it. If we let in that goal, though, the mindset has to change. You know what I mean? Because then you're like, oh, we're on the back foot here. What we're going to do? So what does Ange think? Let's just attack. Let's just go for it. You know what I mean? So then this is the thing. And this is where it leads back to what I was talking about with Solanke. He was poor in attack. Worked hard. He's like a little kid. Works hard. You know, you're sitting on the sidelines. You're just like saying, well done. Well done. Well done. You're working really hard. You're tackling back. You're doing this. You're doing that. You're doing this. But you're a striker, bruv. I need you to score goals, bruv. You know what I mean? And it's either the system. Maybe it is the system because we don't get enough crosses in the box for him. I'll be honest. You know what I mean? The only one that did it was Poro, and you saw again yesterday when he got close to the bar line, he's putting a brilliant cross in again. He's our best crosser by none, right? But he's just not effective enough. It's just not effective enough. And again, it goes back to what we said before, not adapting to the players you've got. And I don't think he's got it at all. I think he's used him as a battering ram, and he's just less effective up front. You know what I mean? And then if you're going to do that, you need your midfielders, you need your strikers to score goals. You need your wingers to score goals in. Either way, isn't it? But recently, we've not done it. The only one that's done it is Johnson. You know what I mean?
So it's an interesting one. I think if Johnson wasn't in the side and Solanke was in the positions that Johnson was in, then Solanke would have a lot more goals, if that makes sense. So like when the balls are getting crossed in, like Johnson's, arriving at the back post, Solanke could be there. Maybe at Bournemouth, he's scoring those kind of goals, isn't it? And that's the supply, he needed. So I think it's, because of the system, the way it's set up, the other forwards, it's for them to score that goal, isn't it? So it's more of a team thing where everyone contributes. He's not the type of player. He creates his own chances, meaning against Frankfurt, the chance that we did create from, I think it was from Tell. Tell gets into the box and he kind of fakes it, and then he creates a little bit of space, and he gets his shot off, and it goes over the bar, innit? Because he leans back a little bit, and he's like, oh, I don't really see Solanke doing that. Do you get it? Do you know what I'm saying? I don't see him pinning his man, spinning off his man, and then creating a shot. Or, you know, like what Jermaine Defoe used to do. Jermaine Defoe used to get in the box, wriggle his way out, create a bit of separation, and then get his shot off. I see Tell doing that, but I don't see Solanke doing that. I don't really see Johnson doing that either. But Johnson, for me, is more of a running behind type of forward. So big man, little man, Heskey, Owen. You see what I'm trying to say? That's where I see Johnson. You know what I'm saying? And Johnson playing out wide, you don't get the best out of him because he's not a touchline winger to be creative like that. He can do it, but if you saw him at Forest, he used to link up really well with Morgan Gibbs-White. Yeah. He used to play, Morgan Gibbs-White would be the ball will come into him, he would spin, and then Johnson would be on his bike and Morgan Gibbs-White would feed him. So those two, they look really good. And I always thought we got the wrong light here, if I'm being totally honest. But that's a different discussion for a different show. But Solanke, yeah, because he's not creating his own chances. And as you said, I agree with you. I agree with both of you, to be fair. I think because he's doing so much work without the ball, and sometimes he's playing almost like a 10. He plays like a 10. He doesn't really play like a number 9. Like he plays, but he expects maybe a striker to be ahead of him because he's doing all of that link play or whatever. The only criticism I do have of him is when I do look at Mateta actually does some of that. Mateta does some of that and he gets inside the box. But then you look at Mateta, he's got Eze and then he's got Sarr. Yeah. Eze and Sarr play a little bit closer to him. Whereas I think Tell and Johnson, they're further away. They play a little bit wider. They give our team width. So I think that's the difference with Solanke. Solanke is that sacrificial lamb, as I said before. He's the one that's going to not score as many goals in the system because he's doing all the legwork. He's doing all that for others to score those goals. I think if we change the system where he's going to be the front man playing off the last defender or pinning that defender, then he's going to be getting a lot more goals in any team. But I still think when it's him, he's not clinical. Yeah. And I know you lot don't like this, but I'm going to just say this here because it's the only example I can think of. XG. I know you hate it, but hear me out. Small. So expected goals is like big chances. Like, let me not say expected goals, big chances. Let's say big chances. When it comes to big chances, I look at Cunha. Yeah. Cunha's in the maths grab would have 7 big chances. Yeah. Like that you expect him to score. 7 chances you expect him to score. But he's got 14 goals. Why? Because he's banging from outside the box. You see what I'm trying to say? When I'm saying a big chance, when it's on a plate, like 1v1 on a plate.
You saw it at 4-2, bro.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That was a low XG chance. That's a low expected chance that he's going to score. But he made something out of nothing and scores it. Does Solanke do that?
No.
I'm not sure. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not sure if he's as clever and conniving. You know what I mean? And then I'm seeing Cunha just score screamers. Solanke ain't scoring screamers.
You know why? You know why it's Matic? You know why it's Matic? Because he's a better footballer than bloody Solanke is. And
simple as
you know
that.
what I mean? Simple as that. Like this is why is why I don't listen to XG. This is why I don't. That's not going to go at you, my boy.
No, that's the only way I could explain it. I didn't know. No, you wait for it to land.
It's a fantastic point. Again, you know what I mean. Honestly, I mean, I don't even know how much superlative I can give you. Don't get used to it again. But the point is, though, is that like for me, like why can we not do that all the time? Score goals from outside the box. I don't get it. You know what I mean? It's always inside the box and all that. And Solanke is a perfect example for me. It's got to be perfect on the plate for him all the bloody time. Johnson, another player. I bet his XG is very good. Johnson. Brendan Johnson's XG is really good, but Cunha don't need that. I bet Salah's XG's not very good. I bet it's not very good.
I'd say
You know
that,
what I mean?
I think Mateta's got the same or a similar XG to Solanke, but he's got double the amount of goals.
Yeah, fairs, bruv.
This is what I'm saying.
Fairs,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So at the same time, like, you know, people be like, oh, you're too harsh on Solanke, blah, blah, blah.
But that's what I'm saying, the rhythm.
Listen, he got the penalty, fair play. Now, this is what I'm saying, like, because he's a man that you might need it. Even if you did create chances for him, he needs like 4 chances and he scores 2 of them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
He's not a gunman like that. Like, you know, like in the box, like when you're a striker, I
He's
always
never
think
been a
of Van
gunman
Nistelrooy.
because it was that one season that he had last year. Because before that, he didn't score over 10. Innit?
Yeah. In that season, I think Iriola was like, I don't want you outside the box. I want you in the box. I don't want you doing all this link up play, doing all this 10 shit. I want you to be a solid 9. And like, I was watching not a documentary. I was watching a interview with, I think it was Ronaldo's coach. It was Ronaldo's coach at Manchester United. And they sat down, they had a conversation. And like Ronaldo's like, I want to be the best in the world. I want to be the best in the world. All right, cool. What does that mean? What does that look like? How many goals do you get? And he was like, 30. And the coach looked at him and he said, 30. Why 30? Why not 40? So they both agreed on 40 goals in it in the season. They were like, all right then, 40 goals in it. Show you some video clips of some strikers. Yeah. And they showed him Van Nistelrooy. He was one of the strikers. And it was 3 minutes, of Man United strikers just scoring goals. I think Van Nistelrooy was there, Dwight York, Andy Cole, just a bag of strikers, just banging goals, 3 minutes. And he watched the video and he said, so what did you think? And he said, it was great, man. You know, they scored lots of goals, man. And he looked at him and he's like, is that all you got from it? He said, watch the video again. You know what I'm saying? Watch it again. He watches the video again. He watches it again. And then it comes to the end of the 3 minutes and he goes, so now what did you see now? And he said, and he starts shaking his head.
Positioning.
Positioning. He said, 2 touch, 1 touch, finish, 6 yard, in the box, all different types of finish, headers, like on the back post, penalty spot, near post. Do you know what I mean? And that's what helped Ronaldo get to that next elite level. Do you understand? And so when I look at Solanke, I'm like, is he really that taking that 1 touch, bang, finish, 2 touch, first touch, swivel, bang? Do you know what I mean? Am I seeing that from my striker, from my number 9? And that's the type of coaching I want in my team. Sit down with Solanke.
I think he could do it though. I don't think he'd be that type of bagsman. But that's why I say, because I believe that Solanke can be, obviously not to that level, but he can be someone who's just a 1 touch, 2 touch, take a shot. He can be that, but he hasn't been that way because I feel like he's just been off rhythm in terms of scoring goals in general.
He's too far away from the goal to do it.
I think that's what I'm saying. I
don't think it's even rhythm. I think it's too far away. Yeah, and that's to do with Ange. Yeah, 100%. Because
like, the thing is though, why was he doing it? Why was he being like scoring goals at Bournemouth? Because the manager,
Iriola said, look,
well, this is what you should be doing as a striker. This is what I want you to do as a striker. Maybe he's shown videos like you gave the example about Ronaldo, and he got it, and that's it. But he's been brought in to be basically a playmaker or battering ram. That's it. Yeah, that's what he is.
Yeah. Also, to be fair, Bournemouth, their wingers compared to our wingers, I'm like, you know what I mean? That might have a little bit to do with it as well. Because I see they've got a number amount of wingers. Arteta, they've obviously got Semedo, they've got Taverna, I can't remember his name, but they've got like a bag of players. Taverna, I can't say his name, but yeah, they've got a bunch of players that are wide players that, you know, are able to get past their man on the outside and fire it into the box, in the air, along the floor, and they know cutbacks. They do a whole range of different chances in it for Solanke to feed off. And so even if you look at Iriola, irrespective of what people think of him, and I know that he's going to turn us down because I think that's the latest rumor that he wants to keep on that project. But people are like, we don't want Areola because he's too similar to Ange, or what's the point of having Areola if you're gonna sack Ange? But I think with Areola, if again, I'm going to talk about the expected chances again. His expected chances for the team that Bournemouth are. Remember, this is Bournemouth, you know. I think they create the most. They got the highest expected goals in the league. That's crazy for me. Bournemouth. That's how he's got them playing. You know what I mean? Defensively, question marks. But one thing I will say about Areola as well is before he went to Bournemouth, he at his old club was playing possession football. So he can do it both. He can do the direct football, fast transition. You get win the ball, counter pressing, score the goals, create chances, create mayhem and whatever. But then he can also, if he wants to, can go back to his former club and he can do that possession style of football. But anyway, I've diverted. I've gone off. I just think Richie is doing his own thing. I think Richie,
he's just. You know, Richarlison has the work ethic and the mindset. Solanke has the talent. If you combine them into one player, I feel like we would actually have a very good striker.
Yeah, because I don't think Richie's touch is good. I think Richie's touch is horrible. If I'm being honest,
he's got all the intangibles, and Solanke has the talent. That's why it's so infuriating watching both of these strikers not play well, because it's like if we had someone who just Dragon Ball Fusion, you know,
Richarlison scores a winner in the Europa League final. I bet he does that. That below average Emil Heskey,
I think he's got more of a needle. Don't you think he's got more of a needle than Solanke?
No, he has. Yeah. He has. Because he gets on people's nerves. He can get himself about. He can get himself about. And to be fair to him, he can header a ball. To be honest with you, he can header a ball.
If Oro whips a ball into that box, you know he's going to get on the end of it. Because remember, pigeons feed off crumbs. You know, let's be real.
Yeah, man. There's a couple of times where it's like he doesn't mind hitting the ground badly or hitting the in terms of his body hitting the post. I was seeing against Everton when we lost 2-2. Mikey Moore whips a ball in. Man crashed into the goalpost, but he made sure the ball went over the line, bro. You get what I'm saying? I don't think Solanke commits to it like Richarlison does. Richarlison, if he had Solanke's talent, he would definitely be. He'd be maybe a top 5 striker, and maybe in that 5th kind of spot, maybe 5th to 6th, in my opinion, anyway, depending on how we use them. But yeah, that's what's so infuriating about it, because Richarlison has the mindset, the intangibles, everything that you'd want in a striker, and then Solanke has the talent, and it's like, yeah, Richarlison, he brings all those things, and I wanted to see him play, but he's just not good, bro. He's just not good, which is the problem. So I wish this guy was good, man.
What do you think of Bentancur last night?
You know what? I'm glad you brought him up, because I was going to go on to the midfield, because I wanted to talk about. Actually, we'll talk about Bentancur first, because we'll get on to Berva in a bit. Right?
Yeah, it's a hot topic, isn't it?
But Bentancur, I mean, for me, he was okay. He was good. He was good.
I thought so.
You know what I mean? I've got to be honest, and I said this earlier in the show before everybody joined the show. And thank you for everybody joining the show today. Thank you for both Asthmatic and Elijah for taking time on the show. I'll put the links after the show ends as well to subscribe to both their shows. Congratulations to Elijah. He got to 1,000 subscribers yesterday as well. Congratulations to Asthmatic and Marlon, you know what I mean, for their show as well, their channel as well. But I do think the commentary team were just licking his ass too much yesterday. I've got to be honest. They were saying so much nauseating things. I love Glenn Hoddle. Respect to you, bro. Respect to Sam Matterface. But it was just like, oh, he looks so good. Whenever he plays, he looks so good. I'm like, what have you been watching, bro? Like, he's doing his job yesterday. If we're really being honest, I know we're going to go on to him later. I thought Bergvall was doing more, to be honest with you. He was more around the pitch more, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? He was the one that was making clearances. And by the way, I've still got question marks on him. I've got to be honest. But I do think people will go, yeah, he played good. He played good. You know, he did his job. You know what I mean? Which is what we've been asking for him to do his job. As a professional footballer, that is experienced footballer, should be doing his job. He was lucky he didn't get sent off, though. Lucky he didn't get sent off. He made some really stupid challenge, right? Yes. But ultimately, he did well. He did okay. You know what I mean? He did good.
Yeah.
Who's going to take to Bentancur? As it's your question, Esmat, do you want to answer or
Yeah, so I thought Bentancur was a lot better defensively, meaning winning his duels, like physicality, just being a good presence, off the ball. Just doing like you said, doing his job off the ball work, doing the dirty work, really good, getting to challenges. Thought it was needless for him at the end to pick up that yellow card, that when he kind of left his leg in that challenge. Could have been worse if he had his studs up high. That could have been a lot worse. So thank goodness he didn't do that. Similar to like Romero at the end, I thought Romero kind of lost his head when he did that kind of that late challenge and he ran all the way up the pitch. I'm like, brother, what are you doing? That performance was spot on. Why do you have these moments? Like, just keep it. Someone's got to get in his ear, man. Seriously. But anyway, back to Bentancur. My critique of Bentancur throughout the season in general is I see him as more as an 8, meaning a centre midfielder. I don't really see him as a 6 because, and it depends what you perceive a 6 to be or a DM to be. I think he leaves his position a lot, and that's because of when he was playing at Juventus, he always had someone alongside him. Now, I've seen him alongside with the American player. Was it McKennie? Remember McKennie? He used to play for
Juventus,
Leeds. Yeah. So at Juventus, them two played as a double pivot. They played in the 4-4-2 under Allegri. So he's always had that physicality next to him. And then before that, he had Locatelli alongside him as well. So he's never really played the lone kind of defensive midfielder where he's had to stay in one position and just hold it. He's done it for Uruguay, I think. But even then, he doesn't just sit and like dictate where he can just pass. He's a player that likes to pass, but he likes to carry it as well. And if he vacates that position, someone else has to drop in, if that makes sense. Or if he is playing that kind of DM role, one of the fullbacks, like you see with Man City and Arsenal, you see Lewis Skelly, he joins up with Partey in that kind of DM role. So them two are sitting and that allows Rice to go forward. We don't really have that. So that's why sometimes we look exposed through the middle and teams are able to play through us. But looking at that game individually, I thought he had a better performance in that role, and he didn't do a lot too wrong. I liked the fact on set pieces. I didn't really appreciate Bentancur until the last few games. What he does with the ball in the air, like headers.
He's a very good header with the ball, isn't
he? He's
a very good header.
Vicious. I said, hey, yo, wait a minute. We need to see this Bentancur a lot more. You know what I mean? So him and Romero in the box, them man there, deadly. And I thought they were unlucky not to like get in the score sheet for me. But yeah, that was my thoughts on Bentancur. But yeah, moving forward, if because Bentancur is obviously, like you would say, box office, he's twerking him for a move for Atletico, and apparently Barcelona are looking at him as well. So I don't know if they're going to start a bidding war. We might lose that kind of midfielder, that kind of presence in midfield. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens this summer.
But Barcelona looking at Bentancur right now.
Yeah, Barcelona looking at Bentancur as well as Atletico.
Bloody hell.
But you know what it is? Some of the coaches, they might see some raw materials there and think we could develop him or we could use him in our system a certain way. And they might be able to get the best out of him or another level out of him. Do you know what I mean?
Is he 27 years old though?
He is 27 years old.
He is 27, but you've seen players at like 30, 31 have their best years because they're in a new system with a new role. And but remember, Bentancur, if he plays in the 6, he's a single pivot.
I don't disagree with you because he's playing well for Uruguay. Every single time I hear him playing for Uruguay, he's having a fantastic game.
It's not even just that. If you see Arsenal Xhaka, like he's gone to Bayern Leverkusen, and Arsenal fans want him back. They want him back. You know what I'm saying? Like I even like his last season, he was like in his 20s. He wasn't early 20s. He was in his like later 20s, And
Yeah, he was pushing. He's literally pushing 30. Yeah, and
do you know
now
what I
he's
mean?
transcended his game completely. Just
So
having a different role sometimes can
this
just
whole notion of like you can't improve if you hit like if you're above 25, you can't improve, or if you're 26, 27, you can't improve. I don't believe that. And I think certain coaches can get the best, like even like Basuma now. Basuma's been linked to Lyon, Marseille, Aston Villa, and Crystal Palace. And under a different coaching system at Brighton, he was playing underneath Potter, and he played alongside again another midfielder. He had Casado. Potter said, like, I don't want you in the lone six. I want I want Casado to play alongside you. And even when Casado moved further forward, they would invert either the centre back or invert the right back to play alongside Basuma. Basuma would never play by himself in that midfield role. So when we're seeing him in that number 6 or that DM role by himself, we're asking a new thing from him, and we're not really we're not hiding his weaknesses. So it
and the
comes
best thing
down
about Basuma's ball carrying too. So we've seen so many times where he's tried to ball carry, we've lost the ball and then we've conceded. So that's gonna shoot down his best attribute in terms of in a Spurs shirt. So
can't do what he's naturally good at.
Yeah, so now we're seeing a tame Basuma who's losing the ball, trying to just pass to do the simple thing. Because if he drives with it, he's got PTSD, bro. He might lose and we might concede.
Imagine your best
natural, isn't he? He's not doing things naturally, isn't he?
Yeah, imagine your best ability is shooting, and then the player and your manager says, "No, I don't want you to shoot because you strike the ball well. I want you to cross." Do you know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden, you're being asked to cross or do long balls, and then you're losing it. Like the crosses aren't like the same, the long balls aren't finding your players, and then all of a sudden, people start looking at you sideways, like, "Raw, is it really you, or is it you not being utilized properly?" You see what I'm trying to say?
I think that's why people are saying they want a different manager like myself right now, because I think the whole thing right now with the adapting, that's the players, the cards we got at the end of the day. You see what I'm saying? You made a good point about him at Juventus, and I think this is the same thing with Uruguay. Like you have McKennie next to him, and to be fair, Berval and him are gaining a kind of a sort of partnership, I would say, if I'm really honest with you.
They are. Yeah, they are. I think so. I think that's
one. It's interesting we're talking about this because Tech, I think it's Joe.
Big up Joe, man. Joe, jump on, man. Pause. Hey, Joe, man, if you're around, man,
send him a link. Send him a link if he wants to come on. It'd be nice to see his face as well. To be honest, it'd be good.
Yeah.
If he puts his camera on. So I mean,
Bergvall, let's talk about it, man.
He's talking about the option. I think is for the midfield that we got linked with Real Betis. I forgot his name now.
Cardoso. I've got a feeling Cardoso is looking at Champions League football and he's like, boy, I might want to stay at Real Betis. You know what I'm saying? Because he did say something like along them lines in March, how he's enjoying his time. And you know what's mad? Lo Celso is playing alongside him in the double pivot. I saw the best of Bentancur when Lo Celso was next to him. Remember that game against Man City?
People saying that.
But his ball carrying, Lo Celso, I know he's injured a lot, but when he was fit, it was annoying because I'm like, imagine we could get to see more of that. Like a player that's physical, because he didn't mind a tackle. Let's be honest, he didn't mind a tackle. And at the same time, he could find the ball he could do short balls, he could do long balls, he could switch it up, and he could score goals. Do you know what I mean? People say, the league doesn't suit him because he's not, I don't know. It's just like the pace of Premiership. La Liga suits him because La Liga is slower. But the performances I saw, I was getting pissed off at Ange. He kept taking the Celso off and putting Skip on. I remember against Aston Villa, against West Ham, he did it twice. And Lo Celso was playing really well. But I'm not surprised that Cardoso was thriving with Lo Celso next to him. Like, it makes sense. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if Cardoso does want to join us, even though we've got first refusal, whatever that means.
We could still get Champions League, though. Ash.
Yeah, we can. We could. Yeah.
We can still get Champions League. I mean,
I just think it's ironic. That's
isn't it? Really? You know what I mean?
I don't know what you man think anyway, but yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, no, listen. From what I've seen, he's okay. Cardozo, he's okay. From what I've seen, I'm not like he does a job. I think he needs a lot of developing still. For me, I think he's getting his development at Real Betis. So
I just don't know. Like we see with Cardoso, he's like, I don't know if he's that guy that can. Like it depends what you want your six to do. Is he going to be the man that's going to dictate from deep, like get on the ball?
No.
And I you know what? Ever since that Rice performance, I'll be real, innit? I'm not gonna go mad at a man that can't get on the half turn because I was like that half turn merchant. I want my player to be press resistant and beat the press and then carry the ball forward and then find that forward pass. Do you know what I'm saying? And I couldn't really see that with Cardoso. That's not really his skill set, but he is good at breaking up play, which you want from your defensive midfielder. Positionally, he is like he's decent from what I've watched. And these are type of things you don't really notice. You don't really stand out. So like if you're watching Real Betis, it's boring if you're watching Betis and you're just trying to watch Cardoso because he's not that flair player. Like he gets on the ball and he makes it happen. He doesn't really, but at the same time, from your defensive midfielder, you just want a player that is disciplined, that stays central. He doesn't get sucked in. You know, certain times Spurs have got the ball on the right-hand side and everyone gets drawn to the ball like a magnet. No, you want
Michael Carrick a flashy player though? He wasn't a flashy player, was he?
He wasn't.
You know what I mean?
He had a lovely passing range. No, he knew when to make it short, meaning short passes to kind of slow the game down or like put a foot on the ball. And then if we needed to go direct, he could do that and speed the game up.
Was Stefan Freund a flashy player? Was Roy Keane a flashy player? He was a flashy player, wasn't he? You know what I mean? It's just sometimes you just need that sort of play.
Is Rodri a flashy player?
Rodri just does a job, innit? No, but Rodri's a different sort of player. He can do everything, can he? You know what I mean? But I do think that you don't. When you watch a whole game, those players are not really the ones that you are eye catching. They kind of just do their job in the background, don't they? Really, you know what I mean? Like Højbjerg was like sort of player, wasn't he? Really, you know. Even though he had a bit of a mouth on him, I still would, take it, and that's it, really. But we're just before, just want to segue too, because just to introduce another person. We're getting a full house right now, bro. We're getting a full house.
I can't lie, I was gonna have to head out on one because I got a show with George anyway. But
I'll
stay for a little. I'll stay for a little bit longer though.
Tag man in. You get me?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'll be here for still a few more minutes in there, but.
No.
New guest
But we're getting a full house right now. We've got somebody that I haven't met, but I'm in a WhatsApp group with him. And this is going to be an interesting conversation here. His name's Joe, and I welcome to the show. Welcome, Joe. How you doing, Joe?
Going on, boys?
How you doing?
Good.
Big up, bro. Big up.
Have you on the show, bro?
Hey, Joe, are you gonna go to the games store? Are you still going to the games, or are you?
Nah, I'm still selling that ticket every weekend or every other weekend. It's like I'm from South. I'm from South, so it's a long way to travel.
Yeah, say, bro. You're like me,
go
bro.
And watch that.
On the end, it's a minute, bro. It's a minute, bro.
Yeah,
that Victoria line.
Sorry?
Hey, for me, the Victoria line is long, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Long. And then obviously you got to travel. Hey, brother, you already know, innit?
It's a bop. So I'm still, but it does come across like I've jumped on just because we've managed to win a game. This is just pure coincidence, by the way. Like I thought I'd log in to see what Alex's show's saying. He said he's going live. Started just listening to the conversation. I have about 10-15 minutes, so I thought, let me jump on.
No,
let me jump.
Cool. Well, we were just talking about the midfield. That was what we were talking about, Bentacle. But just to go back on what are your thoughts on the game? What are your thoughts on the game?
It was a bit tense, to be honest. I promised that I'm from about December time. I said, you know what? I need to have a mental switch here and kind of watch these games, half switched on, half switched off.
Yeah. I get it, bro.
Tuned into reality. You know what I'm saying? Because as a football fan, we just get so passionate sometimes. And it consumes me, man. The missus, the family, they weren't having it. So I needed to turn it down a bit, which I've managed to do. But last night I let myself get there, and towards the end of the match, it was tense. We played good. We played decent football for a change. I think what was the best thing to see for me was, I think it's the first time we've seen our original back line start to actually look like our original back line from when we first started. I know we've had Adogi back. Him and Spence have been trading. We've got Poro.
How's it gone? Oh no. Is he gone?
Man. Oh, that's unfortunate. Actually, he'll probably join up back in it, man.
Yeah.
That's all right, guys. I do have to make it too, though, because I got.
Towards
this show,
bro. Thank you for joining. Thank you
it's
for
all good,
joining,
man. Thanks for the invite.
Big up.
Yeah, I'll put your links in the bio as well after the show. Good. Joe's back. Hopefully,
that's good.
Yeah, thank you for and please subscribe to Elijah's channel. He's got to 1,000 subscribers. He's going strong. I've told him that he needs to stop talking about other people and think about himself because he's the star. I did see him. I've told him that because you're making other people stars, and you've told him that already. But that's because I love him. That's it. You know what I mean? I love his channel.
It's only Spurs Kings that get that much attention, bro. You have to worry.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
As much, bro. That's all
But
it is.
to be honest, yeah, some of the stuff we do is funny. It is funny. You know what I mean? So big up to you. You know what I mean? You know?
I appreciate that, man. Thank you guys so much, man.
Take that love from Mr. Box Office. That rub from Mr.
Of course,
Box
I won't get used to it. You know what I'm saying? I won't get used to it, but
exactly,
I'll cherish it
but,
while I have it. You know what I'm saying?
Take care, Bob. Yeah.
Take care, everyone. In a bit.
See you later. Yeah.
Big up.
Thanks for joining, Bob. Back to you, Joe.
So just talking about the back line, it's finally back to how it originally used to look. You know, obviously we've had that back line for the last few games, but it's gonna take time for them to find their match fitness, especially the two centre halves.
Joe, can I stop you there? Can I ask you a question? Do you think then, if that back line stayed fit, we'd look like a different team and we would have been higher up that table?
That's a good question. Yeah. Of course we would have. I think the back line was the reason why we were performing. When we were performing, I think the back line had a lot to do with that. Remember, we're not just talking about what they're doing on the ball, but it's the confidence they provide to the players in front of them.
Yeah.
It's just, and for the goalkeeper as well, like it's just it's just back to that.
You know,
and it's a shame. It's a shame that all these injuries have happened, but they're not all to blame though. It's not just the injuries to blame.
I hear it. I just thought I'd ask that question because you did make a big point about that back five. Because I agree. I think with that back five, we looked a lot different. Do you know what I'm saying? And it gave the confidence to the likes of a doggy to burst forward. And the doggy, really, for me, I think he won 12 ground rules in that game. I saw that Romero had a top game, like cleaning up, just defending, reading the game, being in the right position at the right time, on the ball as well, passing it forward. So, like for me, I also agree with you. Like, I think the injuries is to do with a certain man at the top.
But just staying with players, I just think that I think the back line was like how it was, also because for the first time in a long time, things were going well. Things were working. That's my problem with the whole team, to be honest, is when things aren't working. There's so many players in that first 11 that just skydive. It's just a massive plummet. In concentration, in just attention to detail, in their hunger, they just all plummet. Like, and Romero, like I like him, but he's one of those. When things aren't going well, he just seems to plummet. Adogi, things aren't going well, plummets. Poro, he tries his best.
Yeah.
Poro, but
Do you think it's a mentality issue we have at Spurs with our
100%,
with our
100%.
backline, that they actually crumble when things aren't going too well? So
Yeah, I get
maybe
it.
Romero needs to come out of the team then. Would you say that Romero needs to be?
I
Romero,
wouldn't be. Put it this way: he definitely needs to start every game. However, I wouldn't be super disappointed if we sold him this summer. Because
what about Doggy? Because he's been linked to Man City as well.
Oh no, I want to keep him. I want to keep him. You remember he started really well for us. I think he's a talented player. And players are allowed to have patches. He's coming off of injuries as well.
Yeah.
No, we're keeping him. Dogi's a bigger lock for me than Romero is. And especially taking into account value for money.
Wow. I hear it. I hear it.
Value for money. Like, let Romero go for more than what we bought him. I'll take it.
Yeah, no, I hear it, man. Did you want to talk about Bergvall?
I wanted to talk about that. You say a lot of things that is interesting, though, Joe, and about that defense. Now, so with what's happened right now, what we've just seen, that's not really technically true, though, isn't it? That we've had because we had we've had our defense for quite a while, haven't we? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes, we've had injuries, but we had. Yesterday, we didn't see the inversion yesterday, didn't we? And one thing I wanted to ask, now I remember my question. If Frankfurt scored an equalising goal, do you think the defence would have been even more tighter than it was earlier? Because I think the crucial thing is we didn't let in a goal.
Game is over the moment we let in that equaliser. The game is over. They are scoring. They are scoring before that 90s even, before the whistle's even gone. They're scoring a second goal.
That's my point. Point. This is why I sit there and I'm very still skeptical because I'm still confused. I'm really confused. And this is why I said earlier, I think Andrew's trolling us at the moment. I think he's really trolling us at the moment. I've got to be honest. At the worst kind. You know what I mean? And then the Asmatic kind of looked at it and said, well, this is the coaching staff. And I absolutely agree because it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And circumstances as well. Because look what happened before the game. His job was on the line. And I'm like...
I also think the players sat down and they had a meeting. They called a meeting. I said, listen, if we're going to win this game, we've got to do this. You know what I'm saying? Certain man just pulled rank and said, look, we can't be doing this. We can't be pressing all the way out the pitch and jumping from where we are.
I don't know, you know. I don't know, you know, bro. I honestly think all these men are human beings, and I honestly feel that there was no sit down. I feel that sit down happened a while ago. The problem is, this is another conversation, but the problem is it was Son that's heading that conversation. I don't feel he's the guy to head this conversation.
Let's talk about it. Let's dive in.
But that's another but sticking to this one, I don't feel that
Joe, the floor's yours. The floor's yours, bro. Say it out. You might not be in for that long. The floor's yours. Say it.
There was no conversation, I feel, this time round. Like I said earlier, things were going well. I feel Romero, the top guys, Vicario, Romero, Van der Ven, you could say, Poro, those guys I feel are more confident with Bentancur in front of them.
Yeah.
Bergvall, the whole team believe in this young kid that's just electric and everywhere. So I feel those two ahead of the back line, there was more confidence. And like I said, things were going well in the match. We were playing decent. We weren't playing our best football, don't get me wrong, but it was a lot better than what we've done. And so, like I said, when things were going well, we started to pick up momentum, and you could see it in the back line. The confidence started to build because there were early mistakes from Romero and Van der Ven, but their confidence started to build. There was far more cohesion, and things just started to flow in that second half defensively, and they were onto us. But I also want to add, I agree with someone in the group. I won't mention his name on this show because this is a Tottenham show. But I agree with a guy in our group that said Frankfurt didn't play that well.
No, I said that as well.
Ekitike was on stuff, but who was the two wingers? The other is it Nathaniel someone? Nathaniel
He's the
Brown or
fullback.
something
He's
like
the
that.
wing back. Yeah, he's the wing back. Nathaniel Brown.
Oh, did he play wing back?
No, he gets up and down. He's a fullback, but I'm saying he gets up and down like a wing back.
Right, but those ones supporting Ekitike,
yeah,
I don't think they played well, and so.
Do you think it's because of the injury to? Oh gosh, here we go. Goetzer got
That's
injured
another.
very
That
early
was a
on, didn't he?
big factor. I didn't. I was about to. Funny thing about that is when that happened, I was about to put it in the group, and I thought, no, what are you doing? Stay quiet. Let me just leave it alone. But when I saw him going off, my eyebrows were up. I was like, this is a better chance than what we had when the match started.
Yeah.
And we had a chance, so I was like, okay, this is getting interesting now. Very interesting. And they missed their keeper both games. I think that was a massive miss.
Yeah.
Though their keeper played well.
Yeah.
I think
this keeper they had
Santos, to be fair, but
he played well.
that mistake. It's that mistake that he made, and Maddison.
Yeah.
Again, for me, showed me why when he's number 10, when he's actually playing number 10, look what happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's dangerous, and he's always making those runs. He's made so many dangerous runs. One thing that I think that Kulusevski doesn't do for me. You know what I mean? I have to be honest. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Kulusevski is quite one-dimensional with his routes. The routes that he takes, or as Americans would say, his routes. Like he's one-dimensional. I feel Maddison's a bit more diverse with the routes he can take. You know what I mean? I think that's because he's got a bit more vision as well. But Bergvall, that kid, I'm telling you now, we need to sort our stuff out because Bergvall, I'm telling you, Real Madrid are going to come calling soon if he carries on what he's doing.
Box office are going to like
dead
that.
serious. You can see him in the Real Madrid shirt already. I might be getting ahead of myself. I'm not trying to say.
Well, bro, say what you see. Don't worry about it. Say what you need to say, bro. I'm fine with it.
I don't want to make it seem like I'm getting ahead of myself with Bergvall and what he's producing, and he could already step into Real Madrid. Not that. Real Madrid are going to look for Modric replacements. They've already looking for Cruz replacements. Tchouaméni didn't have a great game the other day, and he hasn't had a great season, from my understanding. So they're going to start looking for midfielders, right? And that boy he's doing it all in terms of the ground he covers. Real Madrid would love that. Yeah, they'd love that. A lot of teams would.
Can I just have a cheeky little question here?
Dortmund are looking at him as well.
Yeah. Do you think the Arsenal game, right, kind of inspired Tottenham players?
Yeah, 100%. I think so. I'll be honest with you.
Little cheeky thing, you know what I mean? That Real Madrid performance.
Come on, like they all watch football, innit? They do. They watch other, like they're in WhatsApp groups with some of them as well. They probably watch that kind of Champions League performance. And Real Madrid are bigger, much bigger and harder test than what Frankfurt is. Do you know what I mean? And they went there and they got the job done. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So obviously we're trying to focus on what we're doing, but secretly it's like, yeah, you know what, boys, we can't get knocked out here. We cannot, and allow Arsenal to progress into the semi-final where we get knocked out. Like you could tell that it meant more to especially at the end. Did you see the players at the end? I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah.
Media. They done like a viral kind of clip where you see them all like going to the away fans in slow motion. Johnson, Maddison. Do you know what I'm saying? But that's just my opinion anyway.
Joe, what were you going to say to it? Because I looked at your face when I asked that question. You didn't like that question, did you? You didn't like that question.
What you're saying, what you're both sounding like is you think the players haven't checked out yet. So if I asked you last week before, or if I asked you on Monday, so before this game happened, if I asked you, do you reckon the players have checked out?
I would have said the league they have, but the cup is different.
But
I think the cup's different. They should put a cup.
But at that level, checking out in any sort of dimension, checking out. Like you can't. We're not really fussed about this game, but we're really fussed about this game, and we're going to play well in this game as well. You need momentum. So us losing that game against Wolves. that didn't help. We would have loved to have won that game to give us some sort of momentum. Because now we're looking at Nottingham Forest now and saying, do you know what? We could do something. But that's based off of the fact we won yesterday.
Yeah.
I agree and I disagree. But I think the players, I've heard Vicky Van der Ven say it, you know, we won. I think it was in the pre-match. It was in the pre-match presser, and they asked him about the Europa Cup, and he was like, "We want to win it. Like, we haven't had a good season, but we want to win it." Like, and they asked Solanke the same thing as well. Solanke mirrored that as well. He's like, after the game, he was like, the mood is a bit low in the camp. He was being honest, because I think he was talking in front of the it was like a Tottenham kind of interview. It was a Tottenham, like a self club one, in-house one, sorry, yeah. And he said, yeah, we want to win that cup. That's like the season we've had. To win the cup would be amazing for us. We all want to win it. And he said it post-match as well. Solanke, they asked him post-match on TNT Sports Europa. He actually came out and said, you know, the boys want to get that cup. Like, it would be amazing for us as individuals, but also for a club that haven't won anything. Like, it'll be their biggest cup win in 40 years. So they know how much it means to the club, how much it means to the fans, and for them, for the season that they've been having, if they can get that trophy win, that means so much. Also, I think it's important to players like Kulusevski, if we're going to try and get him to sign a new deal, if we want to try and keep him, he needs to be playing Champions League football or some type of Europe. So if they don't get that over the line, then yeah, some of these players, they're looking for other clubs, because they can't see a world where they're not playing in Europe, because that's the type of players they are. They like, especially if you hear Kulusevski, how he speaks, whether you like him or not, whether you think he's a good player or not, when he does, he has a high ambition and a high expectation of himself. He thinks that he should be playing at the best level, the top level, playing against the world's best. And for him to do that, and for him to succeed, his destiny, his ambition, his goals, he needs to be playing at that level in the Champions League tournament. And if he's not, then he needs to find a club that does match that ambition. And I think that's why that moving Wolves separately aside, that their mentality, their heads had to be different going into that game. That's just my opinion.
I think these games coming in. Sorry to interrupt you, but just to go back on what, just to piggyback on what you're saying, I think, and you kind of asked this question at the beginning when you came on. For me, now these games now, all the games are important now for me, right? Because for me, right, you do this against Frankfurt, I want to see similar to what you do against Nottingham Forest. I want to see this now. You know what I mean? Because then it will show me that he's learning, and Postecoglou. But at the moment, I cannot take this seriously at the moment still, because I still think he's trolling. Being honest, I think he's trolling, because he clearly, this is just because of circumstance, because of all the things that were going on before. You know what I mean? And I've even seen things saying about players not happy with him. They've all fell out with him. So what's that all about? So, like, you know what I mean? It's either this whole thing, for me, I do think it's the players, and I think it's the coaching staff, because I just don't. He would have carried on this before, and I just think it's just circumstance, desperate. Because for me, if he comes out this job without a trophy, him like being where he is in the league, it just looks so bad. You know what I mean? And his temper tantrums as well, as a manager as well. It just looks so bad, so bad. You know what I mean?
I feel the media though has amplified that and has helped us Tottenham fans have like something to say about Ange. I feel they've really kind of come down on him a bit and have blown things out of proportion with where he's concerned. So that, you know what the press are like. Someone seems a bit vulnerable, or is looking a bit vulnerable, especially someone that came in so, what's the word, like?
They build you up and then they bring you down.
Yeah, but the thing is, remember, Ange came in and was a guy that could handle the press. And he came in and was firing answers at questions and was very casual and didn't get amped up about anything, was always very calm.
He was.
So the moment they saw him wobble, the press were like, we've got him. This is our main number one target. You see the dartboard? They had him on the bullseye, I'm telling you.
Yeah, stories to be written.
Here's where we're going to get a lot of juice from. We're going to get juice from this guy.
Yeah.
Because we can see that he's holding a lot of shit back right now.
Joe, I hear what you're saying, but this is where I can't do this excuses for him right now because he knew exactly what he was getting himself into.
He didn't know what he was getting himself into. It don't excuse the performance.
You can't. The thing is, though, when you open yourself up with making silly comments like he does, people are going to ride on that straight away. So he needs to be clever. You know what I mean? You don't see this from like people like Eddie Howe, for instance. You don't see this from Eddie Howe. You know what I mean? Like good managers, like you don't see Areola making comments like that. You know what I mean?
Because they haven't been rattled.
Well, yeah, I get you. But the point is, though, some of these managers, they're very clever. They're very managers. And also, if you need help, you've got your press person next to you. You know what I mean? You've got your press person saying, "What do I do?" You know what I mean? You know, just to say, look. But if you're doing things off the cuff and saying things and being flippant about it, well, you're not helping yourself, bro. You know what I mean? Like today saying. Like yesterday saying, well, it looks like I'm going to be here a little bit longer. You know what I mean? It's like...
because the press have been going at him, innit? So he's going to retaliate.
Get a violin out for him and say to him, well, thank you very much, bruv. Yeah, violin for you, bruv. Like, unfortunately,
but I do agree with Alex in terms of not being convinced or by yesterday and believing that there's change but I feel we overcomplicate things, and I think it's as simple as, lads, like I said, yesterday the game things were just swinging in our favor, like we were playing well, we were flowing. We're not going to see that on the weekend. We're not going to see that for other games this season, because first things first, we're not going to play that team this weekend, that same 11, because we're going to preserve players. Secondly, like we've said and we've established, they've virtually switched off where the league's concerned. Right. So we're not going to see what we saw yesterday for the rest of the season, I don't believe.
So that does that mean then you can't judge them off the cup performances then? Or can you? Because you're saying we're not going to have the same team that we're playing in this cup game against
we can't. Yesterday was as simple as things swinging in our favor and us having almost our best 11 out, bar Brennan Johnson. He should never have started for me. He's an impact player, but the rest of the team I feel is our best 11 or thereabouts, and so we had our best 11 and things were working in our favor. That's it.
So like for me, like. Because the narrative now is, because he's won the cup, not from all fans, some fans, is that, see, look, Ange could always do it. We just needed our best 11. When Ange's got his best 11, we play well. Ange is a good manager. That's going to be the narrative. Let's be honest. I'm saying still, my concerns are if he doesn't have the best 11, because let's keep it 100. In the summer, Levy ain't going to go ham and try to bridge the gap between the starting 11 and when we're missing a few players, you know, the other players fill in and we don't have such a drop off. There's still going to be a little bit of a drop off when we don't have our best starting 11. So is Ange the man to be able to manage those injuries? Because we know there's still going to be injuries. Even Danso is a new player.
The Champions League as well.
Champions League next year. 2 games a week. Imagine Danso hasn't had I don't know, at Lons, he wouldn't have him picking up many injuries like that. And as soon as he comes to Spurs, he's getting injured. So he's got
Solanke's injury. He hadn't been injured for Solanke wasn't injured.
This is what I was saying earlier.
I'm gonna put it out there. I like Danzo. I like no nonsense defender. Just gets it done.
I want to see a bit more of him, but yeah, I like what I see.
I just like Danzo. So go make yourself known, Joe. Go for it, bro.
Yeah, no, that's just, I like I like the team how it's looking, but in terms of Ange and like where we're heading for next season, I don't know. I wouldn't. I'll say this here. I wouldn't mind Ange if he stayed. If we win this Europa,
Yeah, go on.
he ends up staying.
Yeah.
For me, it's either which way we're gonna go backwards. So we let go of Ange, we're going to go backwards. There's no one going to come in, and because we're talking about starting again, we got to have patience and all of that stuff. I get it. And Ange, he's not a coach, he's more of a manager for me. So he's not probably the best person to have, but for me, it's more of like, I just want to keep a manager in there for at least 3-4 seasons and see what we do.
So my thing is like, look, we keep Ange and we don't manage the injuries, but going to your point, if we were to win that cup, Ange is the type of manager that gets what he wants. He gets what he wants. He gets what he wants in the window. And because I've never seen a manager I've never seen Levy put so much money behind one manager in my life. I'll be honest with you. Poch never got this type of backing. Mourinho never got this type of backing. Conte never got this type of backing.
You know why?
Why?
I figured it out the other day in conjunction with our wage system. Ange asks for very little. Ange will ask for players. He'll be like, no, Odegaard's great. No, I want Odegaard. He's the guy. And Levy's like, oh, great. Okay, cool. That works. No, I want this guy. I want that guy. I think Ange doesn't ask for the top of the top.
Yeah,
he said, Ange is on this. He's got that Australian mentality of, the underdog, right?
Yeah.
So he don't ask for much.
I 100% agree with this.
He don't ask for much. Levy's looking at the guys he's asking for and thinking, I don't have to pay him that much. I don't have to pay him that much. I don't have to pay him that much.
Listen,
perfect.
Joe, check this now. If he doesn't get rid of Ange, he doesn't have to pay that severance fee. That compensation fee. He hasn't got to pay that compensation fee either. So he saves money on. Yeah, he saves money on that as well. Whether fans want him here or not, because some fans will be like yourself. They'll be like, "No, let's give him another season. We need to stick to a project. We keep chopping and changing. I want to see this out." My fear is 3 months into that season,
will it get worse?
It gets worse.
Can I?
Because it's like this cup win has made people start to forget what we were just suffering.
But that's cool, no? If it's 3 months into the season, that's cool, innit? Because now we definitely know he's not the guy.
Well, hold on. 3 months into the season and we need to sack him, we're in trouble. Because then who are we going to get? What manager are we get? And even if we do get a manager in, we've missed a whole summer window for a manager potentially who they could have said, I need at least this one player for my, and then also not even the players like coming in for the squad, for him to manage to get his ideas across, to get his, do you see what I'm trying to say? Like a manager wants to kind of get their philosophy through to the players, the tactics, where to sit, how to set up, They would want a pre-season with that. They don't want to miss a pre-season, come in 3 months into a job and then go on, box office, go on. So,
No. You carry on, because I think Joe wanted to say something, because I've got a point to what you're saying, but I think I like this. Go on, because you're on the roll there, mate. Go for it, bro. Go for it.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty much done. I was just saying, like, that's my worry, that's my concerns, that a new manager, if Ange continues to poor form in the league, then what does this cup mean?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? What does it mean? We're very short-termism in that sense, where like, cup, we won it, even for another season, and so then now we're dismissing the whole season that we've just had. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's where the rumors came out. They were saying, even if he does win the cup, they still might sack him. I can't see that personally. I think that was just waffle. Be real. If he wins that cup, he ain't going nowhere. You're gonna get. You're not that ruthless. Tottenham aren't that like. You know what I mean?
Jose Mourinho.
No. Listen. If we get Champions League, all is forgiven. Trust me. That's what he cares about.
Yeah,
he cares about that Champions League money, so that can finance the hotel, the rest of it, all the
it's true. It's true.
Wine and dine, all the rest of it.
Good point.
Them men are about their paper, bro. They're about their shoe. So
Yeah.
as long as they're getting fed, they're so like, all right.
And he's
cool.
the cheaper option. Out of all the managers out there, he is the cheaper option.
He's the cheaper option, bro.
In all angles, in all aspects.
But all right, but regardless of all of that, you still think he should remain in the process.
Well,
He should
okay,
remain
I'll
as a
tell you
man.
what, because I got a cut now, lads. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I'll
cool.
leave you with an answer to Ash's question. Yeah,
Go on.
and in or out.
Yeah.
Either or for me don't make no difference to how I feel. Like it's either way. We're in a real tough spot, and like a lot more things other than the manager is gonna have to change. So I'm like, if the manager's the same, if it's a different guy, I'm still turning up next season and selling my ticket every weekend.
For me, he's out. He's out. And listen, before you go, because like Joe, thank you for joining, bro. Like,
no problem, man.
You set a lot of questions in my head. That's the good thing. You know what I mean? It's like this guy here, behind me, Smatic. You know what I mean? Who plays too much FIFA. I love you still. You know, I'm always gonna have a little bit of a cheeky dig, a little bit. Anyway, joking aside. I don't believe in this whole thing about sticking with managers anymore with Tottenham Hotspur anymore. I think it's about having a director of football now. Who should be consistent.
I like that.
And the coaches under him, because look at the history of Tottenham Hotspur. Daniel Levy doesn't like that. He likes a director of football. He's always wanted a director of football. David Pleat, Kamoli, Frank Arneson, Paul Mitchell, Pratigy, Johan Lang, Scott Munn. For me, that's where we're going wrong.
Oh, we've always been going
wrong. Wow. And then you have the coaches under them, and whether the coaches work or not, you just sack them. You get somebody else in. And for me, if you do it, because Brighton, Brentford, Bournemouth, get coaches in, Southampton with Pochettino, get coaches in that are completely unknown, that can coach players, can get the best out of them, and they can quite easily churn these people out every single time. And because they've got somebody at the top, the Brighton one's bad. You know why? Because one of their guys used to be at Tottenham. And Ian keeps on talking to me about him, my guilty pleasure, even though he's deluded. Yeah, right. Like the guy that used to be at Tottenham is now at Brighton. And look how he's cooking at Brighton. I know Brighton are not brilliant, but for me, that's what we should be doing, and that's where we're going completely and utterly wrong. And we could win we should be winning this trophy. I don't care whether people say I'm being disrespectful to Bodo Glint. But for me, like, I think a lot of us, it helps in our favours. But for me,
we should be making the final. 100%.
That's it for me. But on the manager, I don't care anymore, man. Because for me, we should just be doing coaches, and the director of football needs to be the ultimate for me.
100%.
Like in Europe, Italy, for me, that's what we should be doing. You know what I mean? That's why, personally, even though I'll take him back right now because Johan Lang's absolutely goddamn useless. I'll take Pratigy back. But I don't like his manager choices because his manager choices are crap. Crap.
Yeah.
Since the reason why he used to try and get Gattuso in. That was when I was done. That's when I was done with this guy. Sorry, getting Gattuso in was a big no-no for me. You know what I mean? Then getting in Nuno, but then look what's happened there. But I know you need to leave, Joe.
Lads,
Thank you for coming on the show today, by the way.
Thank you for the invite, my
really
guys.
appreciate
Thank you
it.
for the invite.
Do you have anything to promote or anything like that? Or
just keep following Tottenham. And if you need tickets, holler at Alex or Ash and they'll sort you.
Thank you for coming, Bob. Yeah. And, have a good day, yeah?
Yes, you too.
Take care, Bob. Yeah? Take care.
Staying on that point, bro. Staying on that point. Let's not go anywhere. Don't go anywhere.
No, I'm going on there.
I'm saying, look, boom, Langer. He's had lots of contacts with Thomas Frank.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was trying to bring Thomas Frank to Villa, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Before they went in and got Emery. Only because obviously they got good Spanish links down there and they were able to get Emery. But yeah, Johan Langer, when he was in charge, he had a lot of conversations, and them guys actually speak outside of Tottenham from what I hear. So it'll be interesting to see if like we weren't to win the cup and results, carried on the way they were going, if the Thomas Frank rumors got louder. And I don't know, I don't know. This is just rumors, so put your conspiracy hats on as well, guys. But I heard how Thomas Frank would be open to coming to Spurs. Now,
That's not really a surprise, though, isn't it? That's not
it's not a surprise, but it's like, what do you think of that? Would you want Thomas Frank? Would he excite you? Is that
not really.
Is that the type of coach we because you're talking about coaches?
Yeah, I take him as a coach, but I don't think I'm not excited. No, if I'm really honest with you,
do you think he moves us forward?
I think you'll get to a certain level. Yes, whether he'll get us, we're not.
What does that look like? What does that look like in position of the table?
Top 10.
Top 10.
Top 10, I'll say. But one thing I will give him is that he'll try and improve players. Their strengths.
You think if we stayed with Ange, we would be would stay 15th, 14th? Is that your feeling with Ange, or do you think he could get us 10th? If that's the barometer right now with
if
Thomas
we're in Champions League next season through winning the Europa League, I think it's going to be a disastrous season next season. Because for me, we'll get the money, but we won't get Champions League players. And I think we'll be pushing on people like Burval, pushing on people like Archie Gray, pushing on most of the youngsters, and trying to. I mean, we've already seen the news already. I think you saw someone post a link about Ben Davis signing a new contract. You know what I mean? We've already seen the news about Bentancur possibly signing a new contract as well. So we're already making choices on certain players that are wanting to come into the club already, right? Without even, right? Without even, thinking about it or assessing the season or thinking, okay, can we get better? You know what I mean? I don't think we're going to get anybody experience-wise. If I'm really honest with you, that is going to help the youngsters for me, because I think next season, if we're in Champions League and with more expectation on these youngsters like Burval, like Archie Gray, like Alderbear, like Tell if he comes in, if Mikey Moore, what's going to happen with Mikey Moore? You know what I mean? What's going to happen to these youngsters that are, I was watching a show before and there was an Arsenal fan on. He says, under 21s is absolutely fantastic. Well, we're not going to see that because we've got Champions League. You know what I mean? Yeah. How are you going to play them? You're not going to play your youngsters in the Champions League game, are you? You know what I mean? That's laughable, isn't it? You know what I mean? And with all the problems we had this season, and we're having the Champions, it makes no sense. You get what I'm saying? So it's just. Yeah, I just don't know at the moment, man. For me, at the moment,
Thomas Frank in the Champions League. Do you think he? Could he manage
at the moment with Ange? I think Ange stays. But for me, I would sack him off, because the thing is, though, you've got to ask the question: are you going to still do the same thing next season? You know what I mean? And if you're going to do the same next season, we're getting bantered next season. I don't care if we get a great player in, we are getting bantered next season. We're going to get absolutely bulldozed next season, because teams are much more cleverer in the Champions League. No one wants to get thrashed in the Champions League. Not on worldwide TV. No one wants to get thrashed. Not decent teams. They're sitting there saying they've got pride. You know what I mean? They've got to go back to their countries and say, we represent our country well. You know what I mean? So it's one thing Europa League, which, let's be honest, the Champions League teams not going in it has helped us a lot this season.
Oh, trust me.
A lot this season.
Trust me.
Again, like I say, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to Bodo Glimt that we're playing. I'm not looking past them. But yesterday, this game done us a lot of favours, because they've got a lot of suspensions from that game, I think, as well. They had somebody sent off. Right, and like I said, Lazio beat them 3-1 at home. You know what I mean? So for me, we've got enough ammunition to beat them at home and go back to their ground and see out the game. We've got enough, you know. So for me, we should be getting to that final. So it's just a lottery what we're going to get with Atletico Bilbao and Man United. But it's just, yeah, I'm not confident, mate. I just, you know, I'm not confident if Ange stays next season. I'm not confident at all, you know, because the way that he is, and that's it for me. The only way this changes is if he changes his coaching staff. But we all know his coaching staff, it doesn't change. He runs the show, doesn't he?
So do you think that Ange has lost the dressing room, or do you think he has it?
I would have said yes, definitely he's lost the dressing room. But
because how does he get a performance like that? And
I think it's just pride with the players, mate. This is why now every game, next couple of games, regardless whether it's the league, which is over, and then Europa League, I've got to take it seriously for me, because if I don't take it seriously and look at what I've seen previously and seen what this game was doing, I can't read into what happened this game if I can't see what's happened the future games. You see what I'm saying? So if I'm saying that it doesn't really matter what happens against Nottingham Forest and Liverpool, well, then it's like what you're saying. I'm being a bit of a hypocrite, am I? You know what I mean? So that's why I'm saying I need to see what's happening in these games. You know what I mean? Because for me, that was a kind of blueprint of what we should be doing defensively. It's just whether we can do the balance.
Does that spell the end of Ange Ball then, in your opinion? If we
it should have spelled the end of Ange Ball after Man City, mate.
It should have, but I mean, looking forward now, because I don't think we've played compared to how we played last season. I can't really say and put my hand on the heart and say that I've seen Ange Ball, prime Ange Ball, for what I know it to be. And everyone asks, "Oh, what is Ange Ball?" High pressing, counter pressing, aggressive front foot football, where we literally lose the ball high up the pitch, we win it back aggressively, and we create chances off the back of that. And that means two centre backs standing further than the halfway line. So not even standing on the halfway line. They're pushed all the way up the pitch. You've got one player just in front of them, and then the rest of the players are occupying those front spaces, and then leaving. Obviously, because we're trying to win the ball high up, we're trying to be aggressive, we're trying to create chances off the back of it, we're trying to score loads of goals. You score, but we score more. That leaves us exposed in the fullback areas, because both fullbacks are inverting, or at least one of them are inverting, but one might be going on the overlap. But it doesn't matter, because all the players are up the top of the pitch. Meaning, as I said before, we could still be exposed high up. I'm not really seeing that as much anymore. So I'm thinking in my head, is Ange Ball, is it the death of Ange Ball? Are we starting to see Ange change slowly? I'm not saying it as a positive. I'm saying it as maybe is Ange compromising on his tactics because of the losses? And is he, I don't know, is he enjoying the football? Like, is he enjoying football in the Premier League? Do you reckon there's a possible world where he wins the competition and he walks? Because everyone's assuming that he wins that cup and he's like, yeah, I want to stay at Tottenham. Is there a world where...
I think he walks. I think he might walk. On your other question, right, like I said, this is why I say I'm taking the next, even the Premier League games seriously from now on, right? If we see a little bit of mixture, a balance of attack and defense, defending like we were doing yesterday, right, and attacking like we've done before, and we can get that balance and defend like we did yesterday, well, at least then we can see things have changed. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's learned. Yeah. That's why I'm saying we've got to take the Premier League game seriously now for me. But if things go back to what we did before, we've got our answer. You get what I'm saying? And this is why I'm very skeptical, Asmatic, because and we'll get our answer against Nottingham Forest, Liverpool, because we're going to be preparing for for Bodo Glimt the following week after that. You know what I mean? So, and regardless whether this is why we need to play a full team. We need to play a full team.
For me, it's the performances. That's what
Yeah.
I'm not expecting. Actually, I am expecting a win against Forest, but then
Yeah,
the
that's
other
what I'm
side
saying.
of me,
Performances like
the,
you,
oth-
innit?
the other side of me says, actually, yeah, Forest, they haven't been good lately. They've been off it. Even if you speak to the Forest fans, they're not too confident coming to Tottenham away and getting the job done. However,
Wow.
I see it. No, yeah, I've spoken to a few of them, and they're not confident. I've been watching a few streams as well, and a lot of them are saying if we carry on playing the way we're playing, then Spurs are gonna do us over. But
That's going to harm their Champions League ambitions as well.
yeah, of course it is. Of course it is. They're
Man
falling off
City
the
and I
cliff.
think Newcastle like third now.
Exactly. A lot, but do you know what? It's been people been calling it. People have been calling it. They're saying, look, Forest are going to drop off. They're going to fall out that top four, and they might just finish in Europa places, maybe Conference League. So Spurs could get the win on the weekend because we've just had a win. They've just had a loss. I don't think they played too bad, in my opinion. I think they played. Who did they play? Was it Villa they played last? I can't remember who they played. But anyway, the last game they played, I don't think they played too bad. But the other team edged it for me. They had the better chances, and it is what it is. Like they ended up beating them. They haven't been as electric, I'd say. Maybe that's the reason why they're feeling a lot more harsh. But they've lost the last two games. It was against Everton. I remember now. Everton and Decore scored a last-minute winner. And Everton have been good, if I'm being honest. Everton have been good. And it was Aston Villa was the game before that. That's the game I was thinking. When Villa pipped them and they beat them 2-1. So where in terms of form, we lost against Wolverhampton. We lost against Wolves, but then we won against this game. So if I'm trying to do a prediction for Nottingham Forest versus Spurs, we're at home. We're off the back of a win. I say we could edge it. We could edge that win. But I don't know how many changes will be made. I would assume because Danto has played left-sided centre-back, he would start alongside Romero. So I think
we go back to four.
Yeah, we're gonna definitely go back to. We're not gonna stay with a back five. No way.
No.
Especially at home. I think we're gonna try to be on the front foot. We'll go to a back four.
It'd just be interesting to see Basuma and Sarr get in the team. But I think we should keep the team. I think you should keep the team. The team that played. To be honest with you, go on.
But if we keep the team, that's wrong with that. If we keep the team and we manage to win, but it's at the cost of one of injury to any of our starting 11, and they're out for more than 3 or 4 weeks, then that jeopardizes us from winning the cup. That's the dilemma. So,
but then you've got a starting lineup that is really your first choice starting lineup there, right?
Yeah.
That has done you well for the last game. That's got you to the semi-final of the Europa League, right? You want to keep momentum, right? You can't keep on dropping it and picking up all the time.
For me, I'll be honest with you. If I'm going to risk it like that, I would manage minutes, and I don't think I would start Mickey van der Ven.
I understand with that one.
I start Danso,
yeah,
and then if I need to play Mickey van der Ven, I would. But if I didn't need to play him, I wouldn't play him. I wouldn't risk him. That's the one player I'm not going to do. I'm not going to change. Spence could come in for the doggy, but you've got to look at Nottingham Forest as well. They've got threats. If I think Alanga will be fit for that game. Looking at their team, they've got Hudson Colomadoy. He's also going to be problems. So that front three. Chris Wood's back now from injury.
Oh, he'll cause us problems.
Yeah. So it's Aina will be out. I think he's been having a good season. So, but I think Nico Williams, that young Welsh player, light-skinned brother, he will play as a right back. And I remember him playing against us before. He was getting up and down, crossing balls into the box, being a bit of a nuisance. I think he could start. So it's not too much of a drop off, in my opinion, if they miss Einar. But apart from that, Yates is hard work, and Anderson, I rate Anderson highly. He's like a busybody, does the ugly work, but can also contribute going forward. Knows when to play a forward pass, keeps it very simple. Used to play for Newcastle as well, but since he's made the moves from Forest, I think Nuno's been getting the best out of him. You know what Gibbs White can offer. You know, he can hurt you if you're not careful. Gibbs White can be a problem. But yeah, Chris Wood doesn't need that much chances. He gets in those positions. He's a clinical finisher.
He'll be a menace up front.
He's a clinical finisher. But I'm more worried about Elanga. Out of the two wingers, Hudson-Odoi, obviously on his day, can cause problems. But I think Elanga, we saw what he did against Man United when he just did that Usain Bolt sprint and he just tore them a new one and scored that goal.
Was he injured in that game against Everton because he was on the sub bench?
Yeah, so they've had a few injuries. So Wood was out, and Elanga was out as well. So they've had a few times where they've had a few players out. And they had Silva in that position, and they had Hudson-Odoi. Wood was on, but he just came back from an injury, so he wasn't fully fit. But against Aston Villa, if I remember right, it was Elanga and Hudson-Odoi. They played in the front two with Gibbs White playing in the 10. So they never had Chris Wood. They weren't fully strengthened basically for both games. They had players out. But yeah, against us, they would have had more rest as well. So that's something to consider. And it's Monday. Lucky for us, it's Monday night. It's not Sunday, innit? The excuse has been Thursday, Sunday. Now we've got an extra day. We can't really give that same excuse. Do you know what I mean?
No, it's not excuses really. You know what I mean?
Murillo, I like him. Murillo's a strong centre back. Likes to carry the ball out from the back. Can start the attack. And you've got Milenkovic. We've spoken about him numerous amount of times. How a quality of a player he is. How he did well at Fiorentina. We were looking at him at one point. We could have bought him.
Dan waxed lyrical about this guy. That's lyrical, and he was so annoyed that we didn't get him. He was recommending this.
Yeah, no, he's a top player. I've been looking at him for a while. I've been looking at. I think he's a top player, man. I've watched him in Serie A. I think he's a good player. Matt Sells is having an excellent season. Matt Sells is a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
I think he's been. There was one point. I think it was against Liverpool, and he was pulling off save after save after save after save. Man of the match performances, and he could get Golden Glove. You know, he's not far off it. He's not far off the Golden Glove.
He is very good. So very safe.
Yeah. So they've got a strong back five there. You know. So it's going to be hard to break down. And that what I like about Nuno, sometimes he switches from a back five to a back four, depending on the opposition. But I assume against us, he's going to stick with the back five. He's going to respect us, and he's going to want to get one over us. 100%. He's definitely going to want to, impose himself, show us two out of two. You know,
they need to win. They need to win because
they need to win.
Because they need to worry about who's behind them, because that Champions League chase is very, very interesting now. Especially now Newcastle are really up form now. Because I didn't even watch I didn't even know about that game.
Crystal Palace,
but they were 5-0. They were in really good form, and the managers, obviously, hopefully he's recovering well.
Got pneumonia now.
But the managers.
Listen, I would take their assistant coach, bruv. What's his name? Jordan Tells, whatever his name is. Jordan. No, it's not. What's his name?
No,
I thought. Yeah, but him.
Why you say that? Because I swear, when he was a manager at one club, I don't think it really went well, didn't it?
No, it doesn't matter, bro. I don't. Listen, the in-game management, and obviously he's been learning under Howe. You can
Jason Tindall.
Jason Tindall. Yeah, Jason Tindall. That's it. Jason, not Jordan. Jason Tindall. Yeah. But like the way I was watching him on the sidelines, box office, I'm telling you, the way he was organized, he went from positional play. He went from he was playing a back four, and he was telling them to sit off into a mid block, innit? He was saying when he was playing against Man United anyway. This is the game I saw Sunday night, Super Sunday. They were doing a back four, and they were like 4-2-3-1, sit off, and then allow Man United to have the ball. And then when it came to the midfield, he wanted them to press. But he realized in the first 10 minutes that when he sat off them a little bit, when they went to jump, because you know what, like when I say jump, press, that's what I mean. When he told them to press, because he was telling them to do a mid block, their fullback and their midfielders were too far away from their midfielders and their fullbacks, so they weren't able to win the ball. And so when it come into half time, he changed it and he said, I want you to go man to man, more aggressive, press them.
They couldn't handle it, Man United.
They couldn't handle it. And I said, yes, you're watching the game, you're seeing things happen, and you're getting involved. You're on the touchline, you're like, I need you here. Like, you're too far back. That's the type of coaching I want to see at my club. I want to see things where things aren't going right. You're looking at the profile of the player. You're saying to him, actually, you know what? I need this. You're better than him. You're better than him. I need you to step up and be aggressive. I want you to ask him questions. I need you to be honest touch. Do you know what I'm saying? I need you to...
On the back of that, back onto Tottenham. We'll go back to Newcastle in a bit. By that performance yesterday, right, by Tottenham, did you see elements of that that Newcastle was displaying there? Did you see any coaching
To be fair, it's the most I've seen Ange look at the bloody iPad. You know, look at the screen, the monitor. Because normally...
so you saw him do that?
Yeah, I saw him do that. This is the first time. Well, not the first time. The other time, obviously, is when we conceded against Wolves, isn't it?
Yeah,
that second goal, he looked back at the screen to see what was going on. But in this game, I actually did see him go back to the monitor and like talk to his coaching team a little bit. Do you know what I'm saying? So it was a bit more interaction from Ange. I didn't see him necessarily going up to the players and like doing that level of detail that Tyndall was doing, Jason was doing. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna go mad at that. But as I was saying before, the coaches, you can tell the coaches were a lot more involved. The way we played, the way we sat off them, the way we were in the mid to lowish kind of block. It was a lot. It felt a lot different to how we performed in other teams against other games. Sorry. So, like we said, man, we need to see this consistently for us to be won over against Forest, against Liverpool. We're looking at performances now, not necessarily just results. Yesterday, yes, it was a result, and I feel like it was professional. We got the job done. Big up to the lads. They got it over the line, and we're happy. Do you know what I mean? I'm saying now, we know, like for me, I think Van der Ven won't start on Sunday. So Danso's going to be in. Danso, for me, like, he's similar to Romero. I wonder if they're going to tell him not to jump, meaning not to press. Because there's times when I've seen him exposed because he's jumped too early, not got the ball, too late, not got the ball. And we saw it against Ipswich where he was underneath the ball for the header. And then it ended up in a goal where he was the player that scored against us for Ipswich? The light skin brother. Hutchison. Yeah. Amari Hutchison ended up scoring that goal. Yeah. And then there was another time he jumped again. I can't remember the game. Forgive me. But he did another jump similar. Didn't quite make it. No, it wasn't Arsenal. Was it Arsenal?
No, I don't think it's Arsenal.
No, but there was another game when he jumped and he didn't quite get it. So there's mistakes in him. He's still, but I do like him overall. So because Romero's in the squad now, and Romero's more of the front-footed player, he's the one that likes to, find the problem before the problem manifests. Do you know what I mean? He looks to defend high up. He's more of a proactive defender. I wonder if Danso is going to be more the one that sits off and does the recovery runs and cleans up if, Romero doesn't quite get there and pick that ball up high at the pitch. So I want to see that dynamic. And I know they haven't played together, so I want to see if there's a communication. But equally, I don't know if Danso will start because, like you just said, Ben Davies has been offered a new contract, which I think is a mistake. But maybe they're trying to make him a martyr where he gets another year. He sits back in the coaching staff. He does his badges. Do you know what I mean? Because apparently he's really good at talking, articulating. He's really intelligent.
Right.
Players getting with him. He's going to be that kind of man. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Can I just chime in? No, don't worry. No, you've done nothing wrong with it. Don't worry about it. But because you just give me nuggets. You always give me nuggets, mate. When you say stuff, when you're having your little waffle, you give me nuggets. Romero, yeah.
Go on.
Everyone's saying he had a great performance, but he was captain. He was captain, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was captain.
Do you think the captaincy said, "I've got to take responsibility at the moment," or am I looking into it too much?
He had it at Wolves, and I feel like we said it before. When he makes a mistake, his head is gone. Head hot, Mars. Yeah, but like if he could somehow manage that part of his game where he just doesn't lose it, he doesn't crumble, because that's a big part of our DNA that we need to get rid of. We can't crumble. When things go wrong, we need to keep our heads in the game. We need to have that discipline. We need to have someone on the pitch that says, you know what, step up, it's going to be all right, calm it down, let's carry on with our game. We're still in it. We're only a goal away. We can get these things back. That's the mentality we need. Do you know what I mean? And people praise Romero because of his aggression. You need that as a leader.
I think now we're talking about Romero. Some people have turned up, Ashmatic. Yeah. Some people turned up. Big up to everybody in the chat. Big up to everybody. Big up to Irish Hotspur. Big up to him. He's come to see the main event. You know what I mean? Welcome to. You see, you attract the best, the premiere, not Irish Hotspur. The We Are Tottenham TV though. The We Are Tottenham TV. Big up David, by the way, the Irish Hotspur. Big up to whoever that is, if that's Sim or Ben. Big up to you. Big up to Brian Daigle. Big up to Brian Daigle. Big up to you. Big up to everybody who's in the chat and watching as well. Big up to you. Yeah, big up to you. Big up to you, David.
Yes,
big up to everybody watching. Big up to you, Donna Cullen. Big up to you, and big up to everybody who's watching. Tottenham Ranger and everybody else. Sorry to interrupt you, mate.
I have to shout out the man them and the gal them and all the people them. Big up, love for all of them people there. But what I'm saying is, look, if Ben Davies starts, I've got a different kind of conversation going on, because there's a potential Ben Davies starts in that lineup against Forest. What does that mean? What does that look like? Because that last Forest performance was all over the place. If Spence plays alongside Davies as well, as we've already mentioned, how sometimes Spence with the ball, excellent. Without the ball, can be suspect. Even that goal we conceded, you see Ben Davies, he had his hand up. Like to say offside, these times there's Spence playing them on. Oh, my brother, what you doing? And I've seen it before where he's at the left back role. He's been a bit lapsed, you know what I mean? With the ball, you can't fault him. He transitions the ball high up. He carries the ball well. Even when he came on at the start of his reign, Coventry, that link-up play, he gets his goal, 1-2, into feet, boom, finishes it calm, composed. Against Southampton, I remember, great performance. Against Ipswich, I know I'm mentioning teams that are low in the league. He had a good performance against Liverpool. To be fair to him, against Mo Salah, where he locked him up, he had the keys. You know what I'm saying? Took his chain. Sorry. So I'm not all of a sudden flip flopping on Spence, but I'm just noticing the frailties, and I'm saying if it's a Spence alongside Ben Davies, and you're having to deal with an Alanga on that side, I do have my concerns. I do have my worries. That's all I'm saying. Do you know what I mean?
I'm saying that you might as well play the same team for next games, because
there's a few you could make alterations. You know what I mean? Bergvall can stay. He can stay. Bentancur can stay.
I can understand the whole thing about Van der Ven, but
Maddison can come out. I'd say Maddison come. This is controversial because I do like Maddison. I do like what he offers in terms of he's the only player for me that can pass the ball and disguise it, like not make an obvious pass where he can float a ball. Like there's different types of passes. You could got the long ball, you hit it with pace, but then you can float a ball into an area where you dink it, and it has a nice weight on it where someone can run onto it like a Tell. Because Tell for me offers a little bit something different to Son. I think Son might miss the game because I don't think he's fully fit. The fact that he didn't travel means that he might not make that game against Forest either, because it's too close in my opinion. But then I'm looking at Odegaard I want to see. I've been saying this. I want to see that link up because the France under 21 team, you've seen them perform together. They've had that relationship. I think Odegaard was the reason why Tell joined as well. As part of the reason I think he got on the phone to him and said, "Brother, it's nice here. Trust me. I've just bought a little bimmer. The BMW's in the showroom. You can come out, get it out, drive it around. We'll link up, go barbershop, go Chick King, link up, eat a couple wings and that bus joke." So I think they've got that relationship in that French under 21 side, and you've seen both Odegaard and you've seen Tell come off the wings and do damage. Odegaard more creativity than Tell, but then Tell more goal threat. And I think that's the balance you need. You need one that's a little bit more creative and one that's more a goal threat. And with Tell compared to Johnson, as I said before, Tell creates something out of nothing. Odegaard can beat his man, can get down the line, and also can do the Johnson thing because he did see that against AZ where he was finishing off the back post. Oh, no, was it AZ or was it? Yeah, I think it was AZ. He came on and he did the Johnson thing and he scored a back post. So whatever Johnson can do, to be fair, Odegaard can do as well. So I would just like to see that relationship, either wings. It'll be their wing with Alanga and Hudson-Odoi versus our wingers, Odegaard and Tell. Do you know what I mean? And I wonder if they could get more juice out of a Solanke in that position. That would be interesting to see.
He needs crosses though, doesn't he? He needs crosses though, and also he needs to stop being this midfield, this creative midfielder at the moment. You know what I mean? Or being this defensive midfielder. Because let's be honest, he doesn't do enough. And like I say, I don't really know what else to say really.
That's what I want to see. I don't think it will be Odegaard. I think because not Solanke, Kulusevski got minutes out there on the right hand side. I think it's more likely to be Kulusevski on the right. You know what I'm saying? Rather than, because I don't know how fit Odegaard is. As I said at the start of the show, I don't know if the mole was right and them hamstrings was true. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if his hamstrings are tight and he still hasn't recovered and they don't want to risk him.
Were you hinting that mole was? I'm just saying, just off the cuff, Son.
Yeah, it could have been Son. Still, I can't lie to you. I'm trying to get to Bayern Munich. All right, let me start leaking because, like, we spoke about the dressing room, innit? And I said, I think the players, irrespective, they're trying to win that cup, innit? Whatever. Son could have been one of those players that, because I don't know if it's true, but there was meant to be apparently an argument, and it was meant to be from Romero, innit? Romero was meant to be the one that was causing the trouble, and players weren't respecting him because he's meant to be one of the leaders. Imagine he's meant to be one of the leaders. He's gone off on one, but I think people weren't respecting him because at the start, remember the start of the season, he was saying, if Ange goes, I'm leaving. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, fast forward, like he wants to leave regardless. So I'm putting 2 and 2 together with my tin silver hat on, and I'm saying, is it Romero that's causing friction behind the scenes, saying, "Oh, get rid of Ange. Ange is no good," and he's arguing with Ange? And is it Bentancur, 2 of the players that have been linked away from the club? So is it Romero and Bentancur versus the rest of the team? Even the donkey's been linked away as well. So all the players that I'm seeing linked away, I feel like they're speaking up against the rest of the dressing room. Son obviously hasn't been linked away, but I don't know, like it could be any of those guys who are the mole.
It's an interesting conversation because I don't know. You know what I mean? I really don't know at the moment with this at the moment. And the whole thing with Romero is just, it's incredible how.
Do you think he should start then, though? Should he still start if he's causing like friction in the dressing room and he's calling the manager out and he's had a bust up with the manager? Shouldn't Danso start with another centre back? I don't know.
Well, I think people would like to see Danso with a Van der Ven.
Well, Van der Ven can't be risked. Let's say Van der Ven can't be risked.
Well, this is the thing.
Do you start Danso and Davies, or do you do Danso?
It would be interesting to see Danso and Davis. That would be interesting as well. I think we've seen it before anyway.
Do you think it works? Do you think that's a better pairing? I personally would keep Romero. I think
at,
he's
at the moment,
that's
Momo's
just
got the
me though.
shirt, hasn't he?
I wouldn't change it, but I'm just throwing it out there as
No,
a conversation.
I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change it at all.
But does it make sense though? For like, do you see what I'm trying to say? If you've got someone in a camp that's causing ruckus and he's one of your leaders, but then you're do you know what I mean? Or is it like you have to play that player because they're so good? And then then you start to think like, is some players untouchable then? Are we going back to that kind of era where, like remember Kane was untouchable at one point. Couldn't be dropped. You know what I mean? Son at one point, it looked like you couldn't drop Son at one point. Big up, bro. Yeah, man. So like, it's like there's so many questions, but I think when we play Forest, those questions become even greater. So Romero has to have
this
that
game is
performance.
very important. I think the next couple of games are very, very important to see whether this game that we had yesterday, we learn anything from it. And this is where that's what my question
is. Is it a moment? Yeah, is it a moments thing? Because this season for me has been moments. You know what I mean? You look at Man City, it's a moment. Manchester United, moment. Villa, moment. Last night, moment. You see what I'm saying? All moments. It hasn't been consistency. We haven't had 3 to 4 games back to back. Performance wise, where we're like, actually, I can see something here. Like, moving forward, this makes sense. If it's patchy for me, there's lots of things where you have to kind of question, and you have to like look at the evidence and question the players, question the staff room, question the manager. And you don't want to do that as a fan. You just want to be positive. You just want to support your club and then look forward to the weekend. In our case, look forward to the bank holiday Monday. You know what I mean?
I think for me, Stelios says something very good. Stelios says, and I do agree with him. You can't be excited by one win from Tottenham every single time. I can't get excited anymore about just one win because you know that you're going to get disappointment along the way. One way or the other, it's going to end up disappointing. So I think until I see the end of this, I can't make my decision at the moment, really. And
you know what's funny? Like, I wish Joe stayed for longer because he said Bergvall, is that player that will be picked up by Real Madrid. And I know you fundamentally disagree. And I think you disagree because you think ultimately it's too soon. You need to see another season from him. I think that's what I'm getting from you. He has made mistakes on the ball, costing us at times. And so his decision making or concentration needs to be improved. So he needs a level of, I'd say, some coaching behind him. Sometimes the player next to him needs to have a word to let him know, that's not acceptable. What you're doing, you need to let it go there. I'm sure he knows it himself, innit? I'm sure he's disappointed in himself. What I do like about him is that he doesn't, like some other players, he doesn't like let it affect his game. He keeps on going. He keeps on moving. So I think he has got a good mentality on him. He has got the ability to not just carry that ball forward, but he's brave enough to make those risky passes into the front line. I think that's where I do respect him.
Well, he's the one that put the ball over to Maddison to get the penalty, didn't he? I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was. And even against Wolves, when he did come on, he was the one that drove it forward to give it to Johnson, who then Johnson fed it through, and we ended up scoring that goal to get back in the game from a mistake from one of the defenders, Semedo, I think it was. But coming back to him, I just think like it's funny, the narratives, because people are having a go at Sarr, one of my man, one of the brothers. Yeah, big up Sarr, because Sarr hasn't had as many. I don't know if he's had as many starts as Bergvall. It'll be interesting to see the side by side comparisons. But I do know from when I did check that Sarr's definitely got more goals than Bergvall, and he's got more assists than Bergvall as well. So he's got more goal contributions in total.
That's why I'm saying he's very, very busy. Bergvall.
Yeah, Bergvall's getting all the praise. You know what I mean? If I said to most people, who's your player of the season so far, most people are going to say Bergvall, I think. You know what I'm saying?
That sums up where we're at the moment. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Some people would have put Archie Gray as one of them.
Some
I
people
know
would have said
one. I
Kulusevski.
know one person would say it. Definitely.
Yeah. We won't get into that, but I'm
Yeah.
saying like, I
You don't want to go in that one,
here.
yeah, because you don't want
Yeah,
that
I
time
prefer
to
that
go
person
in
to
it.
be here before I
Be
get
going.
into that. You know what I'm saying? But for me personally, it's hard to have that conversation about Bergvall. I know because you're gonna say, yeah, he's young though. It's Sar's older, has been there for longer, rare tear. But you can't be giving that shade to Sar. I think it's unfair to give the shade to Sar, who's got put it in the back of the net and contributed more, like than what Bergvall has. And for me, it's not all about just the goals and the assists. It's about the overall play. That's where I kind of sit on it. Do you know what I mean? Because Bergvall for me is a good player. I just think people misprofiled him and said he's going to be a 10 and comparing him to like a Maddison. I think he's more of a centre mid, meaning like more of an 8 position where he's not afraid to take it off the ball of the centre backs and the full backs like a 6, but then he's box to box. He's able to take the ball in tight spaces and wide areas. He's a bit more not composed, but he looks tidier. He looks less raw than what Sar does on the ball. And I think that's why people like him more, because the aesthetics of Bergvall reads better on the eye when you're watching him. Do you know what I mean? Because I've heard people say, oh, look at the way he glides across the pitch with the ball. Sar's more like gets the ball and he travels with it, takes like the stride pattern's a bit different. So he's taking bigger touches when he drives up the pitch. Do you know what I mean? Whereas Bergvall takes more closer, he's more close control with the ball. Do you know what I mean? And so people are like, oh,
chances, and he just rolled the dice with his he does take chances, I've got to be honest as well. Yeah,
physicality as well. We have to say it. He does like a challenge. He gets involved. He's not afraid to get stuck in. So that's why I mean he's more of an 8, more of a box to box, because he can win that ball high up the pitch. He can, give you some of that bite that you need in midfield, and he can cover a lot of the ground. But in terms of passing, I think he's a much better passer than what Sar is. He's got better passing range than Sar. So I think that's where people bake that into their argument. And that's where I go back into Johnson, because I'm like, for the people that defend Johnson, and big up to JJ that was on my show the other night.
Yeah.
We were having that conversation about Johnson, why he thinks Johnson's technically a good footballer, and I disagreed. I think with Johnson, take the goals and assists away from him, and everyone says that's the hardest part of the game. How can you take away his goals? That's not fair. I think it's because if Johnson was a centre forward, I wouldn't have the same energy, or a wide forward, I wouldn't have the same energy. But because he's playing out on the wing, I'm a lot more harsh. And then it comes down to the manager playing the players in their best positions, in their best roles, understanding their profiles and kind of putting them in that position. In that game yesterday, I don't know, Johnson didn't really do it for me. What did you think about Johnson in that game?
For me, Johnson didn't do a lot. He defensively was very, very good. Just a side note. Big up to Duad Diaries. I forgot his name now. Sorry,
George.
But big up to Duad Diaries.
Big up George, man.
Jaws, big up to Jaws for the redirect. Really, really do appreciate it. Please subscribe to his channel, by the way. Thank you for that. And welcome to everybody, the viewers from Duad Diaries. Enjoy the show. I mean, for me, basically, Johnson, he did well defensively, but like I said, the front three wasn't very good. It wasn't very good in terms of, other than Tell, who'd shown a little bit. Kulusevski was busy. Solanke that worked hard. I mean, Johnson again. This is where Ange doesn't help himself. You know what I mean?
Do you think Johnson has a chance to start though? Do you think he has a chance to start against Forest?
Yeah,
because it's his old club, the whole cliche.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. Players start to turn up when it's against the old clubs.
Yeah, absolutely.
He gets a goal. He gets a goal again. He's our top scorer.
It probably, the thing is though, I think the formation. I think the front line for me would maybe be Tell, Solanke, and maybe Kulusevski.
Mm.
Kulusevski
And then Johnson
on
comes
the
on
right.
as an impact sub, you reckon?
Yeah, I do think that. I do think that. I think it's for me. It annoys me, Asmati. I've got to be honest. I think he should be up front. I just think it's just so blatant now. To be honest with you, it's
Johnson.
just so blatant. You
I
know,
don't think Johnson could be up front. I'll tell you why. The way we play, you need a player that can hold on to the ball. Johnson can't hold on to the ball. He hasn't got
I know,
the
but this is
technical
why I'm saying that this is where
ability.
he gets it wrong for me, because I think he should play. Either he needs to be closer to the middle with near Solanke, like two up front. I know he doesn't do that, but for me, it's just so blatantly obvious now. For me, it's blatantly obvious. He
So what if
runs
you've
the
got two up
ball.
front? Who's your right? Let's humor it for a second. You got two up front. I'm assuming you're saying a 3-5-2, yeah?
Yeah,
Is that what you're
something
saying?
like that, or just
A 3-5-2, yeah?
somehow he's got to be in the middle somewhere, or try and be nearer to the goal, because at the moment nearer to the middle, because or inside forward, like we call it,
Yeah.
because it's
Big man,
just
little
like,
man. Big man, little man, as we said before.
that's the thing.
Yeah. So all right. So what does the formation look like then? So if it's a 3-5-2, well, assume all right, Vicario's in goal. Your back three would be like, let's say it's what?
Danzo, Van der Ven,
Van der
Romero.
Ven.
Then you've got your wing backs in Poro and the Doji.
Yeah.
Then you've got
In the
the double
midfield now.
pivot of Bentancur and Berval. Then you've got
Yeah.
Maddison in the attacking phase. And then two up front, you've got Solanke and Johnson up front.
So all right, cool. So humor me this, right? In a 5-3-2, where does Maddison drift into if you've got Solanke dropping in all the time in that kind of position where you want Maddison to
dropping into the left?
So if you've got, does that mean then if you got the 5, that means you can't have no inversion, because normally what happens is the inverted winger would get in the way of where Maddison normally drops into. Do you know what I'm saying? So you'd have to have, all right, cool. So Maddison's in the pockets, he's in those little spots, those half spaces, whatever you want to call it. He's picking up the ball. Are we going to be defensively sitting off Nottingham Forest and trying to hit them on a counter, or are we playing high up? Are we playing a high line?
I think unfortunately high up for me. I just don't see him changing that side of things. I don't see him changing that side of things. I also, I think it'd be a very, very cagey game if we did that, to be honest with you. I just think Angie's not going to do that, especially at home. I don't think he'll do that, to be honest with you. I think for me, to keep momentum, I will keep with this tactic because it works for the players, I think. And
4-3-3.
Yeah. Well, just to be more pragmatic and just hit them on the counter,
mid block,
pressure.
4-3-3 mid block.
Yeah, because I think that's where
Forest will struggle. A bit closer to what Newcastle do.
Yeah. I think we have to work towards that. To be honest, with you, be a bit more clever, and also make us a bit stronger in our game a little bit as well. For me, because at the moment, I think this is so out of character what we did yesterday. That's why I'm so confused still. You know what I mean? And also because we didn't let in that goal to equalise, I can't really. I mean, yeah, you give credit to the players and stuff, but I still look at it and think, well, if they let in that goal, would they? Because they were so defensive, they've had to change their mentality of being attacking. And I don't think they're able to do that, switch mentality like that, just from attack to defense very, very quickly. You know what I mean?
Don't you think when we did switch to a back three, we invited them on a lot more, because obviously we were defending, we were trying to put more bodies in the box. And so does that suit Spurs though, to sit back as much? And would you want Spurs to sit back against Nottingham Forest in the back five?
No, but I think that's the way that we are better at, to be honest with you, because then you don't see Bentancur. Bentancur's better doing the job. Let's be honest here. He's better doing the job, right? when he's doing a job, doing what he needs to be doing for his job, he's a good player. He's an effective player, right? When you've got Birdvale just running around putting out fires, that's good because he's doing his job. Yeah, you can do a little bit extra, maybe, you know what I mean? Because he wants to take chances. That's cool. So I think it's just giving people roles at the moment. It's again, I think it's not exciting to watch. No, it's not. It's not going to be exciting to watch. No, but at least you're getting the best squeezing out the best out of your players, and that's it. And maybe you have less injuries if you're doing that as well.
So answer me this then: if Ange was to do that, will you be Ange in?
Well, yeah, I mean, it has to be a couple of games, maybe possibly.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying like if from here on in to the end of the season, you saw Ange adopt that, will you be Ange in?
Not really, no, but I'll give him credit.
Why
yeah.
not? Why not? Why not? He's doing what you said. He's changed the formation.
I think I need to see a little bit more. Really, I think
he's adapted.
He's had the whole season, and he's just been.
He's shown that he's learned. Then he's shown that he's learned.
Yeah, but he's taken the whole bloody season to do that, Ash, and he really should have done it.
Sometimes that's what you need, though. Sometimes, like managers, they learn. Some managers do it quicker. They adapt quicker. They realize, okay, this isn't working, and throughout the first season, they adapt, and then they check. The second season, it happens. Maybe this is the point of where he says, okay, cool. Maybe these coaches have a point. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe some games I need to kind of sit back and like for the next, few games, I'm going to play a 5-3-2. I personally think if he was to play a 5-3-2 and we had a high line, it wouldn't be a 5-3-2. It would be a 3-2-5 in possession anyway. And the fullbacks, what would happen is the three centre backs, they would spread out. So the left side of centre back and the right side of centre back would act as fullbacks, and the central centre back would act as a DM at times, and that would be Romero, who would step into midfield. And then the two ahead of him, they would be like Bergvall and Bentancur. They would try to press high up the pitch and win the ball. And then the front five would be the two wing backs given the width, and the other three would be, I don't know, you got Johnson or Kulusevski. And you've got, because you've seen it with other teams where they play. So like, let's talk about Amorim, right? Amorim plays with a 3-4-3, innit? Yeah. So 3-4-3, similar in terms of in possession. They play a 3-2-5 in a 3-4-3. So Glasner does it as well, right? So instead of having your wingers hugging a touchline, you're now having your wingers closer to the edge of the box, where Son used to score his goals, used to whip it in, bend it in. All right, cool. So now you've got Tell in that pocket, closer to the goal, and you've also got Johnson, like you're saying, as an inside forward.
I think that's much better for them, to be honest with you, rather than having to be this touchline winger, because they're not touchline wingers, are they? They're not. Yeah, well, Johnson's definitely not. He's trying to be. Bless his cotton socks, but he's just looking. You know what I mean? It's just not working, isn't it? You know what I mean? And like, if you use him to the best of his ability, his figures could have been better. You know what I mean? His figures could have been better in terms of scoring goals. You know, he could have improved as a goal scorer. You know what I mean? You know, but this is the thing. It's like, and then you could work on his rest of his game. Right, because you've got confidence in part of his game in terms of scoring goals, because he's getting in the right positions. But at the same time, you can improve him in terms of his other attributes as well. So you can use that as well. But the same.
What suits Spurs the best? Low block, mid block, or
low block?
High press. You think low block suits Spurs the best?
Well, when we're low block, yeah. When we're low block and we hit people on the counter. That's when we're better. That's been our best results, hasn't it? Let's be honest. You know what I mean?
So if you had a coach, is that the type of coach you want coming in then? You want a coach that...
Not really, no. I want expensive football, but I want somebody that can develop players. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I'm saying if you had a choice,
yeah,
a coach comes in. I know you want a coach that's basically to develop players, but I'm saying in terms of style,
Yeah.
Would you want us to continue with this kind of
Yeah, high press. Yeah, I want to do that. Yeah.
continue with the high press?
exciting to watch, yeah.
Makes
Definitely.
sense.
But I want a coach that can coach.
That means
coach
then Thomas
better.
Frank wouldn't be for you then, technically, because he's not really a high press coach. He'll be moving away from our philosophy slightly.
Did you watch? Did you? Because I've spoken to this guy before.
Hmm.
I'm not saying we'll look for him, but he used to be assistant of Areola, Ingo Perez at Rio
No, I
Vallecano.
haven't. No. I remember we spoke about him, and I remember there was some chat before. I think it was Danny that was big on him, saying that we should really get him in. Well, no, I haven't looked at him.
Oh, Danny said about Ingo.
No, not
Perez.
Danny K. Kiraku.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think Danny mentioned them before.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
That's very interesting. Yeah, so I would take him. I do like Glasner. I think Glasner's kind of warming to me a little bit. You know what I mean?
But he's not a high pressing, and they got peppered by Newcastle. Remember that? Newcastle gave them a new one.
But I think he'll learn from that, though, bro.
It'll be interesting to see how it pans out at the end of the season. Everyone's got their favorite, but like as soon as they link to the Spurs job, that's when they crumble. It's weird.
I know people say that, but I think you can't dismiss people that are out of job because they might have taken time to learn and grow as a coach, like your Terzic, like your Javi. You know what I mean? You could use Javi. Are you good for time though, bro? Or do you have to go soon?
I'm gonna cut in about it's 30 already. I was gonna say I cut at 2:30. It was 2:30 already. I have about 5 minutes, man. Stay on.
5 minutes, yeah. Okay, that's cool. Big
Big
up to everybody in the chat, by the way. We are going to be wrapping up the show soon because everyone's got to enjoy their bank holidays. You know what I mean? Because you're lucky ones. You got 3 hours of Mr. Box Office. Got lucky ones, more than 3 hours. My gosh, you lucky people, absolute lucky people. But big up to everybody that's watching. And that's it, really. But big up. But yeah. I just think I need a high. I like a high press coach, really, to be honest with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So then, all right. So yeah, then that means.
But I don't mind Glasner. I don't mind Glasner though. To be honest, I think he'll learn. I think he'll learn. You know what I mean? I think he'll grow from this. You know what I mean? Because let's be honest, Crystal Palace side, he's really squeezed the juice of that team. Let's be honest here. You know what I mean? So. And I think the things that he's done, I think it's not that bad. You know what I mean? I think it isn't. You know what I mean? So, and I'm not expecting him to do wonders with Tottenham, winning trophies. You know what I mean? Even though when you look at what's going on right now, we could be winning the Europa League. I don't know. It's just a head. It's just a head messer. This whole
ask me this here before we sign out. Where do Spurs finish at the end of the season?
11th, 13th.
11th.
I don't think we're winning. I don't think we're getting top 10, are we? We're way too far away from the top 10, are we? You know what I mean?
I'm trying to think. What games then are we winning out of our next 6? Where do you see the wins coming from? If we are to go up the table,
like you asked that question, and I haven't got the fixtures up, mate. Like, have you got the fixtures in front of you? Oh, I haven't got the fixtures in front of me, man.
I know. I'll tell you. I know our next 2 games are against Forest and Liverpool.
Forest and Liverpool. I think we get at least a draw out of Forest.
Yeah. You don't think we'll win? You don't think we could beat them?
No, I don't think we'll win. No, okay. I think we'll go back to handball in that one. To be honest with you, Liverpool will lose. Regardless of what we do, I think we'll lose.
I know we got Villa at some point.
Then we've got Bolo Glint. I expect us to win the first game.
I got West Ham in it. That's our next Premier League game.
I think we'll get a draw.
Draw against West Ham. West Ham away.
Bolo Glint. We'll leave the Europa League at the moment.
You think we're going to qualify? I know. I think
we'll qualify. I think we'll qualify. Yeah. Crystal Palace, I think we'll win.
Okay.
Villa, I think we will. They've got a good. We've got a good record at Villa Park, by the way. I think.
Yeah, we do.
Draw.
Mhm.
And then I think we'll beat Brighton. Just.
So you think we'll get 2 wins
Yeah.
and 2 draws?
Yeah. Well, no, I said we were going to lose against lose against Liverpool, and
Draw against Forest, right? You said.
draw against Forest. Yeah. Draw against Aston Villa, West Ham, beat Brighton. Yeah,
So
beat
that's like 8 or 9 points.
Yeah.
8 or 9 points. So yeah, that where we are on the table right now, I think that pushes us up to. It depends on the other fixtures, of course, isn't it? But what are we on? 37, 38 points?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So we'll get past the 42 points definitely from what I've just said now. You know what I mean? Because we'll get enough points. People are saying that we're going to be relegated. You're still in the technically we are, but we're not. Ipswich are not going to win all their games. They're not. So we're not in trouble. We're not in trouble anymore. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not saying that lightly because it's not been a great season, but
at the moment, if we've got 37 points and we pick up another 9 points, let's say 9 points, isn't it? If we pick up another 9 points, we'll end up on 47 points. That means we'll end up. That's behind Brentford. Brentford are 48 points at the moment. The highest we could finish would be 12, according to what you're saying. If Liverpool's the only game we lose against,
yeah.
So 11th is.
I think
12th. 12th is the highest we could finish. Is it 12th or 11th?
I think that's it. Really,
no, 11th. Sorry, 11th. 11th is the highest we could finish out of those games you just predicted.
But
I reckon we'll finish 12th. I'm gonna go one below.
I think I said 13, didn't I? But 12th, I think, yeah. But yeah, I think that's
between 11th and 13th. But I think the highest I think we'll finish 12th. It'll be interesting to see what type of season Man United have from here on. Off the back of that,
they need to win this. They need to win Europa League. They need to win Europa League.
I hope they don't, man. I hope they don't, because
if they don't win Europa League, he's in massive pressure next season.
If they do, because remember, like, I don't think Diblin's coming to Spurs anyway, but Man United also want Diblin. They also want Angel Gomez, and then he's a Man United fanboy, isn't it?
So, fair enough.
Yeah, he used to play for them, innit? But that's the group. He's from Manchester, and he grew up supporting them. However, him and Solanke are like that. They're like besties, innit? So they've got that relationship. So he wouldn't be mad.
We're going to get Johnny Cardozo, aren't we?
Yeah, but remember, he's on a free, so we'll probably get. If we were to, it depends where we finish. Because remember, I said at the start, Cardozo's looking at us and thinking, I can play Champions League football at Real Betis. He could put his foot down and say, I don't want to go. Because it was the same thing with Mark Guay when we put a bid in for 70 million. We put a bid in for 70 million for Mark Guay, and Crystal Palace were happy to accept it. And because Guay stuck his heels into the ground and said, no, I don't want to go, that transfer never happened. But Spurs still put the bid in, even though they knew we could potentially try and get him. So that it's two things. It's down to the player. It's down to the club. Does Diblin want to come to Spurs? Do you know what I mean? Does Gomez want to go to Manchester?
That Diblin one.
If Man United win the Europa Cup, they go to Champions League.
Do you really care about Diblin? Because
I don't. But I'm just saying, like, it affects our ability to attract players if we don't win the Europa Cup. It's mad. It's mad for us. And Levy's already come out with a statement, and he said, "Look, I ain't spending no money, bruv. Whatever money I spend is the players that we sell. Whatever comes in or whatever goes out goes back in. I'm not putting my hand in my pocket, especially after those protests. Huh? You don't want to protest against me." And so hence why I understand he's trying to be the PR thing already, where he's told us early, like, I'm not spending no money. unless we get that Champions League football. And then he's also brought in an ex-Arsenal man that used to be one of their CEOs. He's brought him in. So that's another layer to him to PR and say, look, I'm not involved with football, guys, to protect himself. Look, I've got this Arsenal guy in. He's a football man. He's going to be helping running the commercial side of things. Scott Mum, I don't know what's happening with him. He's getting brushed aside. So, like, do you know what I'm saying? It's between Langer and Paratici. So he's putting more walls to distance himself to say, even though we know he's going to be involved, we know Levy's going to be involved in the transfer dealings. Because I know that he's already gone over to France and he's spoken to Angel Gomez over a numerous amount of times. They've sat down and gone over. He's gone over to his house where he lives in France. He's had that conversation with him. So he's desperately trying to get deals over, pre-negotiate deals from early. I don't know too much about Jonathan David because I know there's a whole host of clubs looking at him.
Yeah. I heard about him.
And again, that all depends on Champions League football, bro. Do you understand? So it's these things we have to consider. Anyway, we've got to end it there, man.
Yeah, I know. But big up to everybody who's watching today. Thank you for Smatic. Thank you to Elijah. Thank you to Joe, who joined the show today as well. Big up to everybody who's watched. We're in the semi-finals of the Europa League. We've got to be happy. You know what I mean? You've got to be happy, ladies and gentlemen. You know, it's a good day. It's a good day. You know what I mean? Taking some inspiration from the Arsenal boys. Thank you very much, Arsenal boys, for Arsenal for giving us the inspiration to get to where we need to get to as well. Big up to you. You know, big up to you as well. But big up to everybody in the chat. I can't really get through everybody, but thank you to also Jules as well for the redirect as well. And hopefully see you soon on the day where we get to the semi-final of the Europa League. On the day where Angie's saying, you've got to have to put up with me for a little bit longer now, boys, but it's who we are, mate. On the day where Mr. Box Office had to say that I was actually wrong because I thought we were going to lose. I wanted to lose because I wanted to go on holiday. But it looks like the season's still carrying on as well. I'm going to get quoted for that and get banned for that now saying that. But and on the day, well, I just think Angie's just completely, utterly trolling us, and let's be honest, and that's it. Yeah, you know what I mean. And on the day where is Ash going on a date or something like that? Because his hair's looking really good tonight, like today, right?
Well, I'm always fresh, cause I be fresh. You just don't see me on the weekends.
Fresh, yeah.
Weekends I stay fresh, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Fresh, bro. Yeah. Anyway, joking aside. You know what I mean?
The question I really want to know is from Spurs fans, and I'm ending on this. Big up to Box Office. Thanks for having me on. Big up to the chat for always making it interesting, adding their context, making the conversation flow. I want to know if Arsenal win the Champions League, does that kill our Europa League final win? Will that ruin our Europa League win? Will that throw mud on us?
Oh, good.
That's what I want to know. You
know I can't dismiss a trophy, especially Europa League, bro. That's the biggest trophy I've seen.
We need to focus on ourselves. I agree, bro.
So I listen. Whatever Arsenal achieve, if we achieve what we achieve, I don't give a monkeys about Arsenal, bro. I don't give a monkeys. Yeah, that's the biggest trophy I've ever seen. I'll tell you that. And Ange can take whatever he wants, because he'll be the most successful manager for the last 2 decades. So that'll be factual. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether he's our manager, whoever's manager. My team's won a big trophy. Can't say that much, and that's it. Really, we'll be excited, and that's it for me. So, but I really enjoyed it tonight, guys. And like I say, wrapping up the show today. Thank you to everybody. Thank you to the guests. Yourself, Asthmatic, and please subscribe to Spurskins TV. Please subscribe to Elijah's channel as well, and follow these quite lovely people as well. So take care of yourselves, and like I always do every single time. If you didn't know, get to know. Support your boy, Mr. Box Office. Subscribe and like, and come on, you Spurs. And we're out, guys. Take care.
Love.